Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav, and my pronouns are they, them.
And my name's Harmit, and my pronouns are Hershey, like the chocolate.
And this is A Storm of Swords, chapters 70 and 71, Tyrion and Daenerys. In these chapters, my name is Oberyn Martell. You killed my sister. Prepare to die. Please tell me you get that reference. Princess Bride and Inigo Montoya? Never mind.
I haven't watched Princess Bride.
Somebody out there gets that reference, and that is enough for me. No, but okay. You know how Oberyn keeps repeating, like, you killed my sister, you raped her, you killed their children. That whole thing, like, he keeps repeating it.
Yes.
In The Princess Bride, there's a character who is on the hunt for somebody who killed his father, and every time he meets somebody who he thinks killed his father, he says that dialogue until he eventually meets the person who did kill his father and gets his revenge.
Spoiler!
And that's his dialogue. Yeah, well, we're never gonna watch it anyway, so.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, right.
I would have.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was your culturing for the day.
Good joke. Yay.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. How are you, Hermit?
I'm good.
I'm gonna be good once I ask you who died in these chapters.
I don't know about that. For such, kind of sort of dreary chapters, I'm kind of in like I like a Song of Ice and Fire mood. So it's a little weird. Because I think here's what's happening. As I was reading the chapters, I was like really like not touched. I think that has the wrong connotation. I was just really hit by everything. And it was really getting to me, and I was like, oh my god, like they're laughing at him. Oh my god, like nothing Dany's doing is working. Like it was really getting to me. But then it just kind of turned into like, wow, what good writing. And I just kind of pushed it aside. So I don't know where we're at now.
All right, that's fair. I mean, these are some really exciting chapters for sure. Especially Tyrion's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so who died in these chapters?
Tyrion's hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Oberyn Martell.
Mm-hmm.
Or is his last name Martell? His last name is Martell.
Yeah.
I always get confused between their last names. Oh my god, I know other people died. I'm just blanking.
Whose chapter are you thinking of?
I mean the 163 people in Dany's chapters.
Right.
A
lot of other people during the sacking and the fighting.
Yeah. And then I swear there was someone else in Tyrion's who I noted. I don't remember why or how. Oh, that person who got sliced up by Clegane for literally no reason. That's what I was thinking
being
of.
Too close.
Well, yeah, so no reason.
I agree. I know. I'm just like...
Yeah,
see, like, if I lived in this world, I as a general rule, I would always keep, like, a mile between myself and the mountain.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying he was asking for it at all, but, dude, what are you doing so close to the fighting?
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, yes, indeed. And you already talked about what you thought of these chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to summarize them now?
I don't want to, because these chapters to me just mean lost dreams, That's all these represent.
It
was so, like, you know what made me so mad about Tyrion's chapter? Is, like, by the end you start to believe it. Like, you start to see it, And you're like, oh my god, because the entire time you're cynical. You're like, how the fuck is this little freaking snake man gonna do the impossible? You know, like, how's he gonna do this? You
Step
know?
aside, Spider-Man. Snake Man has arrived on the scene.
Like, you know, you're like, oh wow, yeah, he's gonna beat the mountain, you know? And you're just like, yeah, his little spear, yeah, okay, whatever, it's longer than the mountain's longsword, okay, you know? And then just when you finally start to change sides, and then it's just the last page, and you're like, oh my god, like, we're at the end of the marathon. Like, the freaking tortoise is nowhere to be seen. And then, you just, like, you take maybe, like, a second long nap, and suddenly you've lost the race. I don't know why. I read an article that my friend wrote about the story of Tortoise and the Hare, so it's, like, fresh on my mind today.
Okay.
Basically, yeah, so you lose the race.
Oh,
and
so
it was
you're
really
the
sad.
hare in the situation.
Yeah. You're the hare.
Even though the mountain is the underdog and the tortoise is the underdog.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But it's the way she wrote it was from the perspective of the tortoise kind of cheating a bit. So that's why I'm thinking of the tortoise as the villain in my current interpretation. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that was a really convoluted way to say I don't want to summarize these chapters.
Well, summarize you shall. So in 3, 2, 1, go.
Tyrion's trial's wrapping up. Shay basically convicts him, makes up all these lies. Slay. Tyrion's heartbroken. He's like, my champion's gonna fight for me. His champion's Red Viper. Red Viper, they have a whole long conversation about when they came to see Tyrion, or they didn't come to see Tyrion, but they saw Tyrion in alliances and succession and all that, and they kind of make these covert plans, and then Red Viper dies. We think that he's not going to die against Clegane because it looks like he's about to win, but then in the end he loses. Who did we read? Oh, Daenerys. Okay, wait, restart my time. Okay, so Dany, we're still there. So we didn't get to see the action, but basically Barristan and Jorah and like 20, brave tributes went in the sewers, did the whole thing. They had a whole distraction on the outside by having like similar to that turtle like ram vibe. They call it a cock. And they had something else too. And they basically like had this big show of like, this is how we're actually gonna fight you.
Minute.
It's fine. Whatever. I got distracted about the specifics. It's fine.
Yes, the cock caught your attention, did it?
I started like remembering all the specifics. Like I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, it's 20 people and then the 3 that we knew. And I got so bogged down by those details that I just like forgot about like the actual plot. I didn't forget about the plot, I just didn't get there.
All right. Coolio. So, let's get right into them then. Okay, you're back. You're focused.
I am.
You're remembering the details. It's all coming back to me.
It's all coming back to me now.
We are talking about Tyrion. Tyrion. Tyrion.
Is on his deathbed.
Oh god, no. I don't even know if he gets a bed.
Oh god.
He's on his death floor. Like Mott's. Sorry, that is really unrelated, but Mott's was talking about how his bed is uncomfortable and how he should just sleep on the floor.
Oh my god. Please.
By the way, the Discord has been so wild lately, and a lot in the spoilers, of course. But the scandalous conversations that people were having. The thing is, they weren't even spoilers, but they got started in the spoilers chat, so this conversation stayed in spoilers.
I hate all of you. You're all the absolute worst, and I never want to talk to any of you ever again.
Well, I learned things about British politicians that I never wanted to know, so there was also that.
Okay, well, I don't care.
Anyway, so Tyrion's death floor.
Tyrion's death floor. Please.
This episode is going to be so chaotic because I'm in a weird mood.
Yeah, basically, the day of, the last witness, possibly the last day of the trial is here. Mm-hmm. And he's basically, like, he's absorbing all that, and he's like, oh my god, like, I could be dead, like, what's going on? And he's like, what do I do? Like, after the final witness. He's like, do I, like, accuse Sansa and Dantos? And, like, we talked about that last time a little bit. He's like, do I confess and, like, just trust my dad? Do I take the trial by combat? Like, I have no idea what to do. And he's, like, kind of considering the possibility of the wall, and he's like, I don't want to take the vows, though. Like, then I won't have any claim. Like, my marriage will kind of be void. Like, I don't like this. And then he's like, I don't know, like, maybe I should just confess. But then he's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I didn't fucking do it, And, like, that, I don't want to do that. Then he asks Pod, and he's like, do you think I did it? And Pod can't tell him that he doesn't think he did it. And it was really sad. Yeah, and I was like, man, because, like, I mean, okay, Pod is a child. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the propaganda is going to work on him, But also, it's just sad because, Pod's been with him through all of it. So it was just, like, one of those, like, wow, like, one of your final allies is kind of doesn't really believe in you. And it was really sad. So, Sir Adam Marbrand is here. And he also doesn't say anything today either. And like, all of this, Tyrion is just, like, feeling all this dread.
Yeah, he's like, well, why waste their breath on somebody who's probably gonna die soon?
Which was so sad. All of his thoughts during this chapter were just like, man, I just want to, like, crumple up and cry in a little corner. And so, everyone's kind of watching him and kind of, like, he can kind of feel all the eyes on him. And he's like, whatever, I don't like this. And he sits down and Shay is brought in.
I don't even think he gets to sit.
Yeah, he just, like, kind of gets there and Shay comes in. And I, at this point, was like, oh my god, I was so right. And I felt like a little evil genius. So... anyway, I'm a genius, basically, is the point. However, this was really sad. I didn't really get much of a chance to, like, be like, wow, I guess this, because then instantly, so Tyrion kind of sees her, and he's like, oh my god, like, Varys betrayed her. And then he's like, oh my god, you were being dumb. Of course they were going to question Sansa's maids. But question... did he just make her... I don't remember what happened. So he made her one of Sansa's maids just because, like, he wanted her closer? Like, was that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Not the smartest move, Tyrion. Not the smartest thing you've ever done. Or even one of the smart things you've ever done.
Well, but he thinks to himself, and this line broke my heart. She knows nothing that can hurt me. They plotted it together, she said. This girl he had loved.
Shot through the heart.
Yeah, it was really, like, it was heartbreaking on behalf of Tyrion, for sure.
And it was also, like, I don't want to say perfect, but it was like it was kind of like a bow tie conclusion to the whole, like, constant, like, oh my god, like, I don't know if she loves me, I don't know if she, like, just all of that, like, it was just weird to see it all kind of come to close in one chapter.
So what was the conclusion for you?
I think whether she loved him or she didn't, like, it wasn't enough to save him.
Right. I honestly don't blame her for speaking out, like, as a witness against him, because I don't know if Cersei threatened her or, like, bribed her or whatever.
I think I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she could have been a bit less cruel with her statement.
Yeah.
But
also maybe it, like, because they also could have fed her very specific things, right? Because as we know, like, Cersei's whole, like, this whole plan was very methodical.
That's true. But, like, calling Tyrion, like, my giant of Lannister, that's a thing she did for real, but it was something she chose to say, not like a Tyrion made her say it.
Yeah.
It's, like, a very private detail, Like, Cersei doesn't know it.
Yeah, I think...
And that's the part that everybody's, like, laughing at him about, which is, like...
so cruel
which
and
hurts
so
more
terrible.
than the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that assessment, but I don't know. I think it's just, like, she's, like, very much, like, a common person, right? Like, she hasn't been, like, I don't know if, like, I think being in her circumstance, I don't know if I'd be able to evaluate, like, what to say, what not to say. Because I think it's one of those, like, once you start lying, and then once you start spinning truths into lies, I feel like if you don't have that experience of, like, playing the game, per se, it's like, how do you know where to stop? What's enough to get Cersei to back off? What's, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Fair enough.
With her, it's like, there's that lack of experience of, like, what they need from her or what they're gonna get. Like, you know, I don't know. Like, not that I'm on her side, but I just don't know. Like, it did suck how it unfolded, though, because, like, that entire... I mean, when we get to it, like, that entire page was just, like, miserable.
Yeah. So she says that Sansa and Tyrion plotted it together. Sansa wanted revenge, and Tyrion wanted to be king. He planned to kill Joffrey. Then when Tommen was king, he would kill Tywin and become Hand himself, right?
Yeah.
And she's kind of like, oh, I wasn't supposed to be his sex worker, but he stole me from the squire I was supposed to marry and put him in the vanguard so he would die during the battle and all of that stuff. That part's just kind of like, if you're condemning him, you got to say these things, right?
Yeah.
And she says specifically, like, the day of Joffrey's wedding, when he forced her to go to the dragon skull area with him, that he was, like, really happy about his plan and boasting about it. That's how she knows it.
Right.
And Oberyn is, like, literally the only one that, like, has the sense to ask how she could even know such plans.
Any of these things, yeah.
Yeah, because at first she doesn't tell them that she was working as a sex worker for Tyrion, but eventually she does. Yeah. And, and then just basically, like, how he used to make me tell him how big he was. My giant of Lannister, I had to call him. That whole thing. Yeah. And that's when, like, everybody starts laughing, and it's just daggers in Tyrion's heart.
Yeah, and this line was, he was like, I saved you all, Tyrion thought. I saved this vile city and all your worthless lives. Yeah. And that for me was just like, oh my god. Because he did.
Yeah,
and
he totally did.
That's so valid. That's, like, such a valid thought. And it's just like, it's, like, basically everything he's experienced up until this point of, like, nobody appreciating anything that he, like, ever does, amplified by, like, so much. And
well, yeah, I love this, like, little, like, next, like, confession speech he gives, you know?
Yeah.
He says, my lords, I wish to confess, or, like, you know, take her away and I'll give you your confession.
Yeah.
And, you know, he starts talking and he's like, so Oberyn's like, oh, so you're admitting to poisoning the king? Nothing of the sort. Of Joffrey's death, I am innocent. I am guilty of a much more monstrous crime. I was born, I lived, I am guilty of being a dwarf, I confess it. And no matter how many times my good father forgave me, I persisted in my infamy.
Oh my god.
Tywin is like, well, you're not on trial for being a dwarf. That is where you err, my lord. I have been on trial for being a dwarf my entire life.
Oh my god. Oh
that
my god.
was so hard.
That was not okay. That was absolutely
but it
not okay.
needed to be said, and I'm so glad it was actually, like, you know?
Yeah. Like, if he's gonna die, He may as well die after saying all these things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not do it, yet now I wish I had. I wish I had enough poison for you all. You make me sorry that I am not the monster you would have me be. Yet there it is. I am innocent, but I will get no justice here. You'll leave me no choice but to appeal to the gods. I demand trial by battle.
Oh my god.
Jaws dropped.
What the heck? This was too much. This is not okay.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just like, he did so much. And he did so much of it so well. He wasn't perfect, but he did his best. And he sure did better than a lot of the other people trying to do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all that he gets for all of it.
Yeah.
And he's targeted and plotted against and set up. And on top of that, brutally humiliated. Like where... Like, what? Like, it just has to end with him dying? Like, you know, like, there's no... Like, what? Like, why?
Well,
why?
like you said, at least he got to say all the things before he dies.
I know, but it's just, like, it's too much. It's so unfair.
Yep.
Yeah, but this was a really good speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, this episode in the show is, like, one of my top favorites.
Really?
Because Peter Dinklage just kills it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I think he won an Emmy for that episode. I really hope he did. Because
That's
it was
cool.
so good.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
That's cool. Oh my god. Now I'm excited to see this.
I know.
Several years from now. Please, that's so sad. Okay, let's change gears. Okay.
So, I love this. So there's like an immediate uproar, and Tyrion took especial pleasure in the sudden doubt he glimpsed in Cersei's eyes. Oh, no, sorry. That comes after Oberyn announces himself as Tyrion's champion. Which I'm like, if he was holding that, like, nobody was like, oh, one of the judges was biased. And, like, every one of them is biased. This was just the one that was biased for Tyrion as opposed to against him.
Yeah.
But I kind of expected somebody to, like, make a big deal out of it, but nobody did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is when Cersei has that doubt in her eyes, and it's really satisfying for Tyrion.
Yeah. There was also, like, a lot of interesting, like, the only way I can describe it is Tywin eyes, basically, over and over. And I just want us to talk about that for a second.
I want us to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
After this whole chaos, he gets escorted back to his cell, and he's oddly at peace now, because either way, like, it's just, like, in the hands of the gods, like he said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I know this feeling, but obviously not in this sense. I've never been on trial or on trial, period, but like, definitely not trial that's
life.
Life or death, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, when you finish an exam and you're like, well, it's all in the hands of God now. Like,
please.
Nothing more I can do about it.
Yeah, basically.
So that kind of feeling. And he has, like, a good meal, and he, you know, he just feels, he feels like he snatched the power of life and death from his father's hands and placed it in the hands of the gods.
Slay.
And this is the part where, so no matter what, Tyrion had the satisfaction of knowing that he had at least kicked Lord Tywin's plans to splinters. Because if Oberyn wins, that's gonna suck with the Tyrells. Why did I say Hightowers? With the Tyrells, because they're gonna think that the Dornish helped somebody who potentially almost poisoned their daughter get free, even though it was actually the Tyrells who did it. Some of them, at least.
But they're going to put on the front. They're going to be like, how dare you?
Yeah, and Tyrion definitely doesn't know that. So Tywin's screwed if that happens, and he's definitely screwed if the Mountain wins, because then he's going to have to deal with a dead Oberyn and all the repercussions.
Yep.
Of like, oh, my brother went to get justice and now he's dead. How did that happen?
Oh, and I have your granddaughter who happens to have the claim to the kingdom by our laws. Why don't we just do something about that, don't we?
Exactly. So that's now a very real possibility, but we'll get to that. Oh yeah, Tyrion thinks to himself it was almost worth dying to know all the trouble he'd made, which is just...
Oh my.
Tyrion. And he's wondering whether Shay's gonna be there when the fighting happens. And he remembers that song the singer wrote that he cooked into the bowl of brown. That's what it's called. But he's like, it's almost a shame because those were some damn good lyrics. And I wish I'd learned all of them.
Oh my. For hands of gold are always cold, but a woman's touch. Or hands are warm. I could have sworn it was touch, but maybe it's a different verse, or maybe I made it up.
But Kevin doesn't visit him that night.
So sad.
Yeah. I fear I have seen the last of that uncle.
Aww.
I mean, you've seen the last of everybody, Tyrion. Sorry.
Don't say that.
But, yeah. So he goes to bed, has like a good night of sleep, wakes up, has a hearty breakfast, then goes to meet the Viper, who is drinking wine. And Tyrion's like, should you be doing that when you're about to fight for my life? And, Oberyn's like, it's fine. I got it. Don't you worry about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've killed large men before. I'm just going to get him off his feet and then do the killing. And I've got the spear that's so long that it'll help with, like, counter his reach. And he says, have a look, Lord Imp, but see you do not touch it.
Ooh.
And Tyrion notices that the spear blade is glinting in something dark and black. And he wonders whether it's oil or poison.
Ooh.
What do you think?
Poison. Duh.
For sure.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good assumption. Yeah, and, they're talking about, like, hey, once we win this thing, you can come back to Dorne with me. And, especially if you bring your wife with you, because Oberyn seems to be kind of under the assumption that Tyrion is hiding Sansa away, which Tyrion is like, I'm not going to
clear that up.
Disabuse you of that notion because it's working in my favor now. Yeah, so he's like, yeah, maybe I will visit Dorne. And Oberyn's talking about how Queen Marcella, will appreciate her uncle at her side.
Oh?
So is this something that's, like, already in motion?
I don't know. I feel like if it was, he wouldn't be, like, so loud about it. Like, do you know what I mean?
He
like,
doesn't necessarily not. He doesn't refrain much.
Yeah. He doesn't refrain much. That's a nice way to put it. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I'd like to think he'd be a bit more subtle if this was, like, actually happening. Like, I thought this was just him being like, I'm about to save your life, so you know what's coming up, But I don't know if it was like a, hey, we're doing this with or without you vibe.
So they're doing it with him, but not without him?
Well, without him, he'll be dead. So, and if he survives,
right, but
he'll owe him.
the one who matters, isn't she?
She is, but the specific... Yeah, because I guess if Tyrion knows, then he dies, like, no harm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it could be put into... You know, actually, I think maybe it is like a we're doing this, because if Oberyn has already committed to this, and if Oberyn dies doing this, then it's fully like, oh, this is retaliation. Like, this strengthens our, like, purpose, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, more people will
Maybe
actually
they're
be on our
like
side.
waiting to see whether justice is served or not. And then they'll decide how to go about it.
I don't know, though, because then if Oberyn survives, he's literally like, hey, Tyrion, let's do this. And if Oberyn doesn't survive, then there's definitely a reason to do it. So it almost sounds like...
chances are it's happening.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like... Maybe it's not necessarily a plan, but Oberyn is... It's very much like, oh, I know my brother, and I know that, like, even if this isn't something we've communicated, this is what will happen. Like, maybe it's like, if I survive to see the light of day, I'll make sure it happens. But if I don't, my brother will make sure it happens. Like, it doesn't have to be a plan for him to know that it's gonna happen. You know?
I guess.
Because if he's dead, he's not the one running it anyway.
No, but what I'm asking is, before Oberyn even left Dorne, was this something that they were prepping Marcella for? Or is this something that is... Maybe it's something only Oberyn has thought of, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna do it because he seems like the most revenge-seeking.
Oh, like they were... okay, interesting.
Or is it like Oberyn thought of it on the trek to King's Landing, and he's like, this is the most brilliant idea ever, and I can't wait to tell my brother. Like, you know?
Right. That's true. But if that was something that they were already thinking of, or even if Oberyn was already thinking of it, then the killing Joffrey would need to happen.
Yeah.
So, maybe, I guess, that could be a thing.
That's true. He was going to Joffrey's wedding, who was alive, so it wasn't a real thing yet.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that part. So I guess it couldn't really have been a plan in motion. I forgot all about Joffrey. I'm really glad for that. But, like,
Please.
I guess I need to remember him for this, for the purpose of this thing we're doing here.
Yeah. I mean, it could be. It could be one of those, like, funny things where it's like they were thinking of a plan to kill him, and then, like, maybe that's why he was thanking Tyrion, because he thinks Tyrion actually did it. And he's like, hey, you didn't have to get me blamed. Thanks for doing it, you know? Maybe that was a covert way of him saying, now I didn't have to kill him. Who knows? Because, as we know, all these characters, every single one of them always has their own idea of how things are gonna go. And it never goes according to any of their plans except for fucking Littlefinger. Like, think about the whole Bran conflict. Like, Cersei and Jaime tried to kill him, didn't die. Well, I guess technically it didn't go according to Littlefinger, but he still fucked up a lot of shit. Like, you know what I mean? The common denominator of who benefits is always Littlefinger. And
it's true.
I think that is just so terrible. But anyway, Littlefinger hate aside, yeah, I think I understand it could have been a plan in action, but it just kind of feels like one of those irrelevant things. Where I think it'll become relevant now. But I think because Joffrey was killed by someone else, it was irrelevant. Or crackpot theory vibes. Maybe somehow Martell's involved too. Every single family member from every family is just plotting for Joffrey's death.
Turns out it was actually Tywin who did it, and everybody else thinks they did it.
No, literally. That would be the best plot twist of all time. Like, I would love that. But I don't think that's how it went.
Based on the information that we have so far, there is a theory that Tywin may want that, given that Joffrey was like a monster and really hard to control.
I know, but I think we talked about this before, but it kind of makes his family look weak. Because it's kind of like the king got killed at his own wedding. Clearly, y'all can't keep it up. Especially, like, right after the, like, I guess the War of the Five Kings is, like, finally starting to resolve. Like, the whole point of the wedding and all the courses was to show power and unity, right? It wasn't like, let's show how we're weak and divided, you know? So I feel like Tywin, in any other circumstance, I would say yes, but I feel like just with what's happening recently, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because like Tyrion said, Tywin stands to lose no matter what happens, so at least there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Remember when I said let's try to do this quickly and then we did this?
Yeah, but I feel like this could, like, potentially be one of Tyrion's last chapters, and I think it's okay if we take a bit more time on that. So, you know?
Oh, it's so sad.
Not to guilt us into taking more time, but...
Yeah. Well, you're right. Tyrion does deserve our attention. So, okay, so this is when the Viper goes into the whole story of, like, oh, when we visited you when you were born, it was actually... we had another purpose, which was marriage. And apparently, what's his name? Oberyn's mother and Tyrion's mother were friends from court. And they'd cooked up the scheme to, like, parade about incompetent people in front of them as, like, suitors, so that when they got to Castle Rock, they would be like, oh, competent people. Yes, we will marry them, I guess.
Please.
Although they were kids, like, or maybe they were teenagers. And what choice would they have been given?
Yeah.
I don't know. But there's this whole thing about, like, they were, they went to this harbor and that harbor and whatnot. And they met all sorts of people. And, there's this mention of Elia's ill health or delicate health, which is kind of like a point for our R plus L theory, is that R went looking for L because I was unwell. Oh my god, get it! It rhymes!
I can't. Oh my. This whole, like, algebra of this theory is, like, too much. Like, come on. Like, anyway, I remember this was, like, a couple weeks ago. There was, like, a message on Discord that was very R plus L equals J coded. And there was 5 different reactions on the Discord message. And I was so confused. And I stared at it for, like, a whole, like, 3 minutes before I realized that the emojis that everyone had reacted to were R plus L equals J, but I was just so confused. I was like, what are these weird emojis? Because sometimes, like, when an emoji doesn't transfer, like, between devices, it shows up weirdly. But I was like, how did 5 emojis glitch? And it was a whole thing. So anyway, this algebra is blowing my mind.
And then you add some rhymes to it, and it's just dynamite.
Too much. Light it up, babes. Too much.
Okay, so they were walking around and not
you
walking
make
around.
It sound like they were strolling the yard instead of traveling, miles and miles.
There's this talk about this Baylor Bright Smile who's a high tower. Maybe that's where that came from. Who farted once in their presence, so Oberyn named him Baylor Breakwind.
Oh my god.
So Elia could never stop laughing in his presence.
Oh god.
And Tyrion thinks about how had Elia wed him instead of Rhaegar, she might be in Old Town with her kids, and, like, he's like, I wonder how many lives had been snuffed out by that fart.
That was a good line. I mean, it's a good point, right? Because if that's what it was, then, like...
Yeah, but since their mom's whole mission was, like, to eventually end up with the Lannisters, I don't know if that would have worked out,
Yeah, but, it's nice to think that they had some autonomy.
Yeah. Anyway, so... they end up...
So they were besties.
Yeah, they were besties, except Bestie Lannister died. And so they show up to a mourning household, and Tywin straight up is like, no, Cersei's gonna marry Rhaegar, and your daughter can marry Tyrion, because I don't get why he wouldn't want Jaime to marry
I
Elia.
think he probably wanted Jaime, like, I think because Jaime is, like, his, like, golden child, he was probably trying to save him for, like, some, like the best wedding in the world energy. Because that was, like, his biggest, like, token, you know?
But the Martells are, like, one of the great houses.
Yeah.
Who could Jaime possibly marry? Was he waiting for another, like, princess to be born? Was he like, oh, I hear there's a Daenerys around the corner and I'll save him for her or something?
I feel like with Tywin, it's honestly a possibility. Like, I think for him it was very much like he's gonna marry the best of the best. And also, I think there was probably a little bit of like, oh, this was my wife's plan, she be dead, fuck you, get out.
Yeah, but if he loved her as much as he apparently did, you wouldn't want her, like, final wish to be fulfilled or whatever.
Yeah, but I think loved ones dying can turn people a certain way. And I wouldn't find it hard to believe that Tywin would be a victim to that. And yeah, like, I just feel like he probably was like, there's just so much more to... And I think also with this weird, like, I think Tywin, just because it was like, I know he said, oh, she waited the right amount of time and then hit him up, but I don't buy that for a second. Because, not that I don't think that she waited a good amount of time, but I don't think either way it would have been enough, because...
Okay, so Tywin was just like, how dare you talk to me about marrying my kids when my wife just died 6 months ago?
Also because, like, I feel like under normal circumstances, he wouldn't be out here outing all his plans. Like, oh, my daughter's gonna marry Prince Rhaegar. Because then it gives them this, like, direct thing to use against him. And I just don't see him... that big of a lapse in intelligence coming from him. So I think all of that was just like grief plus Jaime's my golden child and he's gonna marry the best of the best. Because also, like, yes, he loves Cersei, but I think he definitely, like, has that, like, Jaime's my boy, Jaime's, you know? So I feel like if Cersei's gonna marry Rhaegar, then Jaime's gotta marry someone just as, you know?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, these men, they can be so emotional and irrational. Like, calm down.
I'm dead.
Take a breath. Is it that time of the week already?
Please.
That didn't work out, except Elia married Rhaegar, not Cersei.
Plot twist!
And Oberyn feels that this was this slight was one of the reasons that Tywin ordered Elia to be killed during the sacking.
Interesting.
Because Elia technically did not need to die. Like, her kids, like, nobody needed to die. But, like, if we're talking, you know, threat to the throne or whatever.
Yeah.
Elia on her own is not a threat to the throne. Because she's not a Targaryen.
Yeah, but I think I do see the theory of, like, oh, you know, he pays his debts and shit, but I also just think it's, I feel like that would be an odd act of mercy to leave Elia alive and then, like, her kids are dead, her husband's dead.
Maybe Oberyn believes that he ordered, like, a certain level of cruelty.
Because of...
Yeah, like...
what happened.
Like, even sending the mountain in itself is, like, an act of cruelty, you know?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, that... I think there's some credence to that.
Yeah, so anyway, that's, I don't know. I don't want to call it a tidbit, given, like, you know, people died and whatever, but...
Tidbit? That's so funny. Oh my god.
Some Tywin lore. I don't know. It's fine.
Please. Oh my god. Tywin
so...
lore. You make it sound like a campfire story.
So they leave finally for the fighting area space.
Wait, also question, just a clarification. Oh, the whole Cersei's gonna marry Prince Rhaegar. I just have a question about the timeline.
Okay.
So, did Rhaegar end up marrying Elia after Tywin and Mad King had a falling out?
They had a falling out, like, partially because the Mad King refused to marry Rhaegar to Cersei.
So Tywin was basically just assuming he was going to be able to make this happen. Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know. I don't think there was they were promised to each other or anything like that specifically. Or maybe they were. I don't know. Somebody get me the details on that. Or maybe it's something we learned later on. So don't get me the details on that. Or only get me the details and not Harmut the details.
Okay, you know what? Whatever. I'm going to start asking good questions if I'm not even going to get the answers to them.
You're going to start asking
I'm going to stop asking good questions.
I mean, you are welcome to start any moment.
Excuse me? I ask great questions for your information.
Well, you said it. Your words, not mine.
I had a momentary lapse, just like Tywin had a momentary slip of the tongue, and then never again, you know? It was one of those. Why am I comparing myself to Tywin?
Tywin, yes, a great role model he is. So...
Fight, die, done.
Yeah, they are somewhere in the yard, I feel like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's what seems like 1,000 people come to watch.
God, dear Lord.
And Tyrion's like, if we'd sold tickets, we could have paid for Joffrey's wedding and funeral.
Oh my God. Master of coin, go off.
Like the whole like yard is swarming with people, and people are like up on towers and shit, just like spectating, you know? Everybody's so eager to see if he's condemned to death.
Mm-hmm.
And
Gregor and his 6-foot-long sword are both ready to go.
He's very scary looking.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, the Red Viper is just lightly armored. He's got like half a helm. And his whole thing is to like, run around and slow him down and then just like kill him, I guess.
Basically.
Which is what Tyrion's like, well, at least Bronn had the same notion. But Bronn also knew that it wouldn't really work, so...
Oh, God.
How good are my chances, really?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I feel like and this is what I meant, like, I feel like the entire chapter, you're so skeptical. You're like, okay, but any good fighter could have thought of that, right? Like, that would be the only way to beat the Mountain. And how many good fighters have tried that against him and failed? Because as far as we know, he's pretty undefeated.
Every one of them. Because he's still alive.
I mean, other than his brother, right? He's the only one who's even kind of sort of beaten him.
Well, they kind of fought to a sort of standstill until Robert told them to pack it up.
Yeah. So he was really the only one who could even hold his own.
Yeah, so not very many people.
Yeah,
basically.
So... Yeah, it was just very... Yeah, I was very skeptical the entire time until I should have been, and then I wasn't.
Then you got that stupid thing called hope. After all, it is the hope that kills you.
Clegane's shield has the 7-pointed star of the Andals.
It's been painted over. And throughout the fight, as it gets chipped, like the hounds start peeking out, which is like an interesting detail. The Tywin is up on like a platform with Kevin. What's his name? Tommen is not in attendance. And there's talk of like the crowd like being so boisterous that they're hard to control given just the 6 Kingsguard, which means Jaime is among them because one of them is down in Dorne.
Oh, I forgot about the one down in Dorne. So I was going to say, Jaime's not here either.
Yeah, so Jaime is there, but we hear like nothing about him.
Oh my God.
Tyrion never.
So I don't think he recognized him at all.
But he went 6. Like, he counted 6. He would know that the 6th had to be Jaime.
But maybe he just...
And Tyrion knows that Jaime's back in town, right?
No, he doesn't. We've got no acknowledgement of that. So I don't think he does.
Okay, but...
Because he's been on trial
counting
since...
6 Kingsguard, that's 6... Like, does he think that they replaced Jaime?
I think he's a little busy with his own fate. B, maybe he assumed the other guy came back. C, he just, like, didn't. He was too busy.
And the last time we left Jaime, he was like, "Oh, it's time to go pay my debts or some shit."
Yeah,
like,
and then he never really explained
like, it's about
that.
Tyrion, and, well, Tyrion doesn't seem to know he exists, so...
I feel like that could still happen now. I'm banking on it, because I don't know how else Tyrion's gonna survive this.
Okay, well... But yeah, Jaime's here, but we get no mention of what his reaction to any of this is.
Well, I don't think he can do anything in this moment. You know, he's supposed to be unbiased, protecting the king.
But like even like a conflicted look on his face. Like we get nothing, you know?
I think Tyrion was really busy trying not to die.
I'm saying
to register
I wanted a look at Jaime.
Okay, Jaime fangirl.
They start the fight. They're walking around real like movie-like. I don't know.
Oh, real movie-like?
Yeah, there's.
Do you know who I am? No, some random child.
Somebody who's about to die.
Some dead man.
Anyway, there's just lots of like idiotic things involved. But then, so Oberyn's like, okay, so you remember my sister? And Martin's like, who? Once again, and. Obvious, like later on, he describes her in detail or what he did to her in detail. So obviously he remembers her, but is pretending not to in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, dick move. But what more could we expect?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the Viper's like, Elia Martell, she was Princess of Dorne. You killed her. You raped her. You killed her children. Like, you suck, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And they do the whole fight thing, and the Red Viper keeps like zooming around, and the Mountain is constantly having to turn because his helmet is limiting his vision, and he's taking most of the hits on his shield. People are like getting closer to get a better look.
Terrible decision. What are these people doing?
Is repeating the same lines over and over again and just trying to get him to confess. That's what his goal is here.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Oberyn like kind of falls back and the stables are behind him. And as the Mountain goes for him, Oberyn kind of shifts out of the way, but there's this kid standing there who gets his head chopped off. And suddenly, hundreds of spectators seem to lose all interest in the guilt or innocence of Tyrion Lannister, judging by the way they pushed and shoved at each other to escape the yard. So,
oh my gosh. All of that gore aside,
an activity where you go to be entertained and there's a very real possibility that you may be killed, it's not worth it for me, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I'd just hear about the results in my, like, local, you know, the newsboy traveler goes around telling everyone. I'll just hear the story from him. Like,
yeah, I don't need to be there live for this particular event.
Yeah. You know, people are always like, I want to live through a major historic event. I'm like,
No,
most of them aren't good.
Never.
You don't want to. Like, stop. Or it's so funny when people are like, I was born in the wrong era. And I'm like, you don't want rights? Like, what? Anyway, sorry, I'm getting very distracted.
No,
but yeah,
I agree with you. It's like, our era sucks, but it's the least sucky of all the eras that came before, so...
Yeah, so let's just find a way. But, like, say...
Yeah, let's, like, maybe... I was born in the wrong era. I should have been born 150 years from now when people... finally gain some sense, but not like going backwards.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's...
Who am I kidding? Humans are never gonna gain any sense.
Okay, let's not get... let's regain the very little hope that remains in our hearts. Let's not let it leak out.
Yes, okay. So that happens. Some random spectator dies. And, the sun finally comes out. And Tyrion's like, oh, it's the son of Dorne. Like, but then Clegane is the first one to take advantage of it because he puts his back to it. So the Viper has to now stare into the sun. But then Oberyn tilts his shield in a way that it like shines the light right into the Mountain's eyes, blinding him, and he's able to like kick him or something down to the ground. And oh no, he like spears him. You know what he does. It's fine.
Yeah.
Read the chapter.
Please.
Like, if you really want details, this is the wrong podcast. I mean, no. Wait, no. If you want details about anything other than fighting.
This is the podcast. But that's the thing, okay, not to, like, get into the fighting, but I just, like, need to talk about my emotional journey with this chapter.
Yes, please do. For me, this was like I was reading with one eye closed because I knew it was horrible.
You know, okay, so we started off and there was like obviously, like I said, I was cynical for most of it. I was like, what do you mean you're gonna beat the Mountain? But then we kind of got to a point where there was almost a point where this was so ridiculous of me, basically, because there was a point where I was like, oh, he can do it. And then there was a point where I was slightly annoyed because I thought it was a repeat of what we'd already seen with Bronn a little bit. Because there was a moment where it really, like, George R. R. Martin convinces you that he was just being a bad writer and writing the same thing twice. Because there was a couple of times where it really, like, distinctly, like, kind of lined up. Like, it was like, oh, this is the enemy's, this is the foe's weakness and we've caught it and now we're taking advantage of it. And it was, you know, very similar situation, Tyrion fighting for his life, and it's very reminiscent of it, so you're kind of like, oh, this is boring. And I just almost wish it had just stayed boring and I hadn't jinxed it by being like, oh, this is boring, you know? But, like, especially when he's like, oh, you know, the spear length is working out because it's just out of reach. He's making Gregor. I will never get those names right. He's making Gregor run around and, like, it's kind of working. And there's a few points where we're like, is he, like, literally gonna do it, you know? But then it's just, like, especially reading it again, you can just see it's like he could have beat him if he hadn't been so focused on, like, I need the confession.
Yeah.
Like, if it had just been, like, there were so many times.
He could have finished off Gregor at any moment he chose, but he wanted the confession, so he dragged it out.
And even earlier, when he was like he was completely just, like, playing with him. He wasn't even fighting with him. It was just like, hey, I'm gonna tire you out, so you get tired, do the confession, and then I kill you. But it's like, this is Gregor. That's not gonna work. You take what you can get, and you don't get greedy. Like...
Yeah.
And it just
be happy that you killed him.
Yeah. And it's one of those, like, I feel like so many of us fall into this trap sometimes where it's like, he was like, I need my closure. I need this. But it's like, well, it would have been better
if you think about
just hadn't done that.
Yeah. Okay, wait. No, there's things I want to talk about. But let's talk about the fight. Finish that part and then we'll talk about it.
Because also everyone knows that he did it, right? Or am I mistaken?
Yeah, it's like...
Okay, so then it isn't even... At that point, it's just like, come on, just do it.
Yeah, but he's never, like, admitted to it or, like, you know...
But that's not gonna... He's not a man who can repent. That's not gonna, like, do anything. Ugh, it just...
No,
it just
I agree
sucks.
with you.
It just sucks so much. Ugh. Anyway, I hate this because he totally could have won. And we basically almost saw him win, and then he just... Or, not won. Basically almost saw him win, and then he just didn't, because Gregor does not give up.
So he gets, like, all arrogant, and it looks like the Mountain... Mountain gets speared through the chest and pinned to the ground. And it doesn't look like he can even get up. And then Oberyn puts his foot on top of the mountain's chest and is about to be like, tell me or I kill you or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before he can do that, the mountain drags him down, squeezes his eyes out. Like, I don't even, like...
I don't know how to explain this.
Yeah, and then crushes his skull.
Yeah.
And while doing this, he admits to all the things that Oberyn has been saying.
The audacity. I can't.
And Tyrion is like, it's, I don't know, there's something like, he drew back his huge fist, the blood on his gauntlet seemed to smoke in the cold dawn air. There was a sickening crunch. Ilaria Sand wailed in terror, and Tyrion's breakfast came boiling back up.
God.
I put my life in the Red Viper's hands, and he dropped it. When he remembered too late that snakes had no hands, Tyrion began to laugh hysterically.
Oh my gosh. Wow. But, Kate, also question.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to answer this, but so I guess it's just a thought. So, there was poison on the spear, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it went through his belly.
Oui, oui.
So, is he also dead now?
Je ne sais pas.
Like, Kate, because I guess my thoughts are like, so if he got poisoned, like, I have zero respect for this man. But the fact that he killed a man while being poisoned, that's kind of impressive.
Oh, the mountain killed. Okay.
That's kind of impressive. But also, okay, 3 things. Okay, that was the first thing. Impressive. Only compliment he will ever get from me. Second thing. So if you lose a trial by combat, so far we've only ever seen people win a trial by combat. So when you win a trial by combat, when you lose, do you get killed? Do you get jailed? Like, what happens? Because
I think it depends on the severity of your crime, and in this case, it's definitely death.
Okay, so it's death. Okay, so 4th question, I guess. So follow up to that. Why is he being taken back to, like, taken underground just temporarily until they can kill him? Like, wouldn't it be a public execution?
It might be, but, like, it's kind of like you get sentenced and then you, like, like, the trial happens separately from the sentencing, you know?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then last thing, if Clegane dies, then technically both... Is that how it's... That's not fair. So. That's not fair. They both died.
But
I don't care. They both died. The gods didn't protect either of them. That's...
Yeah, but also depends on, like, when... Like, if he dies...
Right here, right now, then it counts.
Well, I don't know if it would count. I think it depends
That's
on,
not
like...
fair!
Yeah, but if he dies, like, 2 days later, then they could be like, it's not trial-related. Like, in that case, there's definitely, like, a... But even if he dies here right now, even then, Oberyn died first. Like, they're not gonna...
But...
It's not a fair trial.
But it should at least be fair in the ways that it's pretending to be.
No, it's... No.
But...
Just no.
No!
I know.
I'm gonna have a tantrum. That is
okay,
not
let
okay.
It out.
But I really thought that was a loophole. I was like, Tyrion's not gonna die if Viper does. Or no.
Hey, maybe it is a loophole, but I don't think that anybody's gonna stand for it.
Well, what if Jaime argues for it? And that's our...
Do you think he will?
Jaime redemption arc. I mean, he has some... I mean, he's still... From thinking about the amount of times he brings up the Tyrion thing from childhood, he's still pretty guilty about it. And if Tyrion's about to die, it's his last chance to make up for it. And he's already burnt his bridge with his dad. And he thinks Cersei's love is unconditional, which I don't think it is, but that's a conversation for another day. So, like, what does he have to lose? Kingsguard's sworn for life. Unless it seems like he's being treasonous, but I don't think his dad would sentence his only other son, you know? So I feel like Jaime kind of has this area where he can get away with it, and I think that he would do it.
Okay, so you think he is going to save Tyrion on this kind of technicality? He's going to appeal the trial or the decision?
I think that's one way he could do it. I don't know how else he could do it, but there's got to be another way, because he said he was going to pay his debts, and he didn't know about the poisoning yet, so I hope he had something in mind.
Cool. Okay. My, thought that I came up with as we were talking, Oberyn, say he has poisoned his spear, knows the mountain's gonna die no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why he's like, maybe I will die, but it'll be worth it if I get a confession out of him, you know?
Kind of noble.
Yeah, except he's, playing with Tyrion's literal life here.
Yeah, but he's also playing with his own life.
Yeah, but this is literally the one case where his own life is strictly tied to Tyrion's life, so...
Yeah, but I don't think he cares about Tyrion over his sister.
But that's, my thought of why he may have, been so, determined to get that confession above...
Right.
Above killing the mountain, because he's like, well, he's gonna die no matter what.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
So we for sure think that he poisoned his blade.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, really. It's one of the very few things that does, but it does.
Please.
Okay, so predictions?
Question mark?
What happens to Tyrion now?
I like to live in Delulu, so he's gonna survive. It's true. It's true. We're really killing it with the rhyming today, but yeah, I think he's gonna survive.
Via this Jaime plot, whatever his plot is.
Yes.
Whether that's appealing the technicality or some other thing that he thought of before the poisoning.
I also, this isn't really a theory. This is just my constant need to want these characters to get some, not revenge, redemption. Part of me is what if Tywin sends him to the wall anyway? In secret? Because maybe he feels bad after Tyrion's whole speech.
But how secret will it be if a very well-read little person shows up to the wall?
Okay, you know what? Don't ruin my hopes and dreams.
I'm just saying.
You know what? Why do you gotta do that to me? Why can't you just let me be in my Delulu for 2 seconds? Why do you got a logic in there,
It's my contractual obligation, unfortunately.
Well, maybe we need to change those contracts to include Delulu.
Well, they're up for revision in 5 years, and we'll talk about it then.
Okay, two things. Okay, sorry. I'm still on my Tywin needs redemption train.
Okay, wow. Okay. Have you not learned your lesson with all these redemptions you keep wanting?
No, I haven't, because some people do get them, sort of.
Who's gotten a redemption?
Jaime.
Yeah, but you never said you wanted a Jaime redemption.
Okay, well, I meant it, okay?
But you didn't say it, so
I don't care. It counts because I've said I want everyone
You're
to get a redemption.
I want Joffrey to be redeemed. I want Theon to be redeemed. I want Bolton to be redeemed. You're just
Shh. You know what? Shh. I remember explicitly stating that I would like every single person to get a redemption arc, and the ones that I named were just the ones that the plot, reminded me of in that moment. It was just the convenient ones to hope for.
All right, so you're still on your bullshit, yes.
Okay, you know what? Still on my Tywin bullshit. Okay, can we talk about the Tywin looks? What do we think the Tywin looks are? Do we think it's just...
which ones? Because I was just I don't have time for this fast-forward right now, so I didn't pay attention.
Do we think it's just, don't mess up my plans, please listen to me and just go to the damn wall? Do we think that's what the look is?
When?
There were multiple Tywin looks.
Exactly, so which one are you talking about?
Okay, what about the one right after Cersei announces that Gregor Clegane will stand for Joffrey.
I think that's like a why the fuck are we dragging this into a trial by combat? Why hasn't he confessed yet? I hate this.
Okay, yes.
All my plans, my control, it's out.
Okay.
Get it? Because out of control.
Oh my, okay. But, like, what if there's a little bit of concern for Tyrion there? Like...
You think so?
I don't know if I think so, but I hope so.
So you think, okay, so it's that, like, oh no, she's got a really good champion. There's no way Tyrion survives this. Can't
it also be that and everything that you said? Because I do think it's everything that you said. But I also think that there's, like, maybe, like, a 5% concern rate in there, you know? Maybe, like, a little bit. And I also, what I really, truly think is maybe, like, 20% in there is, like, maybe, like, a...
Are your percentages adding up?
Shut up. It's fine. It's fine. Because I'm also thinking, like, maybe it's kind of like, you know, I've lost Jaime now, and now it's like I'm losing Tyrion, and like, you know what I mean? Maybe there's a little bit of remorse there of, like, where are my sons? Just a little bit. Like, not...
I let you wear my name on your breastplate because I cannot prove that you are not mine. Some kind of partial paraphrasing, but almost direct quote.
Ick. But here's the thing, Kate. I understand that. You know, he's wretched. He's horrid. Yes, understood. But also, I think that there's something to be said about when you think someone's about to die, or when you think you're about to die. I think in the face of death, people, like, just get this softness no matter what. And I just really feel that, like, even someone like Tywin could feel that. I literally, oh my god, it's like that one lyric from that Legally Blonde song. It's like, even a person who's smart can listen to their heart. I think that's literally what the line is. I feel like I'm quoting that without quoting it. Anyway, I love that line. But I don't know, like, I just, you know, and I feel like, you know, maybe this sets the stage for some Tywin redemption one day, you know? I don't know, I just really hope. I'm really far down to Lulu Lane. Anyway.
Well, you know what? It's okay. We need some people like you in the world.
If anyone is on that side, or even, like, kind of has a little bit of that belief or potential hope, let me know. Yeah. Because then the rest, I feel like it's also, he's just like, bro, because he didn't know about Shay. So that's probably also, like, what the heck is my son doing? So I feel like there's a lot of, like, son judgment, but I also feel like there's a point of, like, okay, like, you are my son, you know? Anyway.
Okay. All right. So maybe Jaime will make a case and Tywin will agree to it because he's feeling soft.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it'll also be like, you know, in the name of the woman I loved, you know, vibes. Even if it's not for Tyrion. And
so what about... Mm-hmm. Go ahead. No, say your thing.
Yeah. And just my last thoughts were just like, so we think Cersei threatened Shay, like that's where we're at.
I don't know. You tell me.
I think that's where I'm at. I think there was a threatening, and I think there was also a little bit of like, oh, I can get you something, you know? But then it also makes me think, though, because she said all these...
So Cersei was both good cop and bad cop?
A little bit. Or maybe there was someone else involved. I don't know that. But, I also think, though, it was interesting with all the things she said about, like, oh, like, he made me, like, have sex for him and do all of these different positions, like, unspeakable things, whatever. With all of that...
sex for him? That sounds so...
What do you mean?
like sex with him.
Okay,
Why for him?
I don't, because, you know, doing something for someone, I was thinking of that.
Okay.
But basically, like, I don't know, like, with all of that, like, I don't know, because then doesn't that, like, put a stigma on her, too, like, even further? Because if she's like, oh, get me, like, married, or, like, get me in, like, working in a really nice household, like, saying all of that.
Oh, everybody's gonna, right, but then she does this whole thing, like, I was just a simple girl, and I was never meant to be a sex worker.
Right.
And she's got this pretty face.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, that's all
but
I wanted to...
But also, like, the fact is she is a sex worker, so, like, she can't, like, not that I think, like, sex work is bad, but, like, in terms of, like, class in this society, it's not like she can go lower than sex worker. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's up. It sounds like I'm saying things that I don't actually mean, but, like, if she's working on her social standing, it's not going to get worse than what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
It can really only potentially improve, you know?
Right. Okay.
Because she is a sex worker, and that is, like, true. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
I guess I was just thinking, because if the, what's it called? Not the mask. If the disguise. Like, if the disguise this entire time has been, hey, I'm just like a maid girly pop.
Right.
Then it's almost like she is lowering her status in that way. But I guess she has to admit to it for the plan to work no matter what. So she may as well just say everything. Yeah, but
also, like, her, like, once again, he made me do it. It was not who I am. And,
right.
Yeah,
so spinning it in that way, I guess, gets her the redemption. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it was unfortunate, but I don't really blame her. So it happened. Sad.
Yeah.
Poor Tyrion.
Will Tyrion ever see Shae again?
Probably.
In what sense?
I don't know. Probably just like she'll be working somewhere and he'll show up and then he'll be like, yo!
Okay. Working somewhere like down, like in the future, like. Okay, so wait. I need to shift. And there's going to be sounds that you need to edit out.
Okay. Hey at a bar.
I'm finding crumbs on my bed. It's fine.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Chilling with the chilling like a villain. Boop, 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 boop.
So first let's talk about where Tyrion goes if he survives. You think he's heading to the wall? Where is he gonna find Shae on the wall working?
Maybe one day he goes down south to like get more people or something. And he's like, hey bitches, I'm alive.
Okay. So he gets sentenced to life at the wall, but he's gonna be a recruiter. And that's when he's going to, like, later at some point in time where he's going to meet up with Shae.
Yeah, or maybe he escapes and goes to Dorne. Maybe he betrays his family.
So she'll be in Dorne then?
Maybe, you know, one day he comes back to King's Landing to do some business and then she's there.
And what is her situation?
Well, she could either Cersei gets her in somewhere, like some sort of house, like... But, Kate, the thing that also confused me about that, though, is, like, Cersei could get her in somewhere, like, as, like, a housemaid or, like, some sort of, like, home staff, right? Mm-hmm. But the issue with that is, like, Shae has clearly expressed that she's like, oh my god, I don't want to do that at all, I hate that. So I don't know if that would be, like, a good deal for her at all, because she doesn't really want to do that. So what would she want? And then on top of that, would Cersei even give it to her, or just promise? Or not even promise and just be like, you're screwed either way, you know? So I don't know. There's a lot of questions. So either she continues with sex work, either she becomes like a household worker person, even though she doesn't want to, but it's kind of like her only option vibes. Or she, I don't know, Cersei, I feel like those are really the only options. I don't think Cersei would go as far as to like set up a marriage or something, you know? I think that's too extreme. She would never, so.
Cool. So Tyrion might see Shay because he will definitely survive this.
Exactly. That is the spirit. I can't have a third character die in this book. Like, I know I said why can't a Lannister die? But I didn't mean Tyrion, okay? In no universe did I mean Tyrion. I meant, like, Tywin, can lose. Can Ty lose, you know? Or
yes, I guess.
no joke. Cersei can die. Or not Jaime. I also don't want. Okay, so half of the Lannisters I don't want to die. Never mind. Okay.
What about like Uncle Kevin?
No, but I don't like Kevin. You know, and he's so loyal. I'm like, damn it! Why am I on their side? Damn it! I just don't. So I don't want anyone to die. Is that too much to ask for? Okay, no, I just don't want. Here's the thing. I'm so selfish. I don't want characters that I know and care about to die. I don't care if people who die are good people. Like, yeah, whatever, I'll care for like 2 seconds and then I'll move on. I don't care if they're good or bad people. I care about my attachment to them. So if I know you pretty well, I don't want you to die. If I don't know you, sorry, it doesn't really affect me and someone's gotta die.
Did you hear that? Characters get on Harmut's good side and then...
And then she'll pray for your survival.
Exactly. And that will definitely work. You can ask Robb Stark about it.
I hate you so much. You're so mean. I prayed so long. Not prayed. I don't know. I hoped.
Wished.
There we go. Thank you.
Delulud.
I delulud. I was about to have a religious crisis on the podcast. I delulud for so long about getting that man's POV, and then we just never got it. And now I'm gonna go to hell or heaven, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, and kick him in the face for going Delulu on
Yes,
Jane.
for being killed at his uncle's wedding. How dare you?
I don't care. He shouldn't have married Jane. Is that so hard? Come on. Sacrifice your honor for one day, dude. You're really trying to, like, now your entire cause is dead. And for what? The honor of one person? Well, 2 people? A couple families? Shut up. Whatever, it's fine.
I didn't even say anything. I actually started thinking about something totally different because I got distracted with thoughts.
Okay. Let's move on to Dany. Daenerys, you know her?
Yes, no, I know. Wait, I need a moment. No, I still have things to talk about in regards to Tyrion.
Oh God, we've been
2 hours in
for a while. Okay, hit me.
Okay, so Red Viper is dead.
Whoa.
Let's talk about the repercussions of that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's giving Marcella as the new queen in town. It's giving Doran gets mad, and he's the
Which town?
And he's the nice one, and he gets mad? Whoa. So it's definitely, wait, has the marriage already happened of Marcella and, like, Doran's kid? Like, the wedding, I mean.
Sorry. No, they're betrothed.
Okay.
They're, like, kids. They're too young to, like, actually be married yet.
So maybe they get the marriage going to solidify that, and then they take their claim, and they're like, well, who you gonna choose, Cersei? What would also be interesting, because Viper kept hinting at, like, oh, if Tywin dies, who's Cersei gonna choose? If Tywin dies, who's Cersei gonna choose, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that would be an interesting plot point if Tywin died, but I mean, who's gonna
but the Viper's dead now.
I know, who's gonna kill Tywin, but it would have been interesting. But basically, I think that Marcella is going to be crowned, and the Tyrells are going to be mad because they're going to be like, come on, you let him try to get away with that too. And then Tywin's going to be like, it's okay, they didn't though. And then, I don't know. You know what would be so funny? Not funny, but, like, interesting? If Marcella, like, her claim gets solidified, whatever, and then the Tyrells are like, okay, we're skipping town. We're actually gonna get Marjorie married to Doran's kid. We're gonna put aside our differences, because we want to be king. Oh, wait, no, but Marjorie's the one who has the claim. Literally ignore all of what I just said. Ignore me.
Can I be honest?
You weren't listening?
I have been, because I was looking into the thing that I thought of.
Uh-huh.
But it turns out it's next book material, so we can't talk about it.
No, come on.
Sorry. So I heard you say something about, okay, they're not married, and then I forgot. I don't know what you said after that.
That's okay. I'm going to cut it all out because it was completely nonsensical.
No, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, maybe you should have been listening.
Well, remember how when you make predictions and you think they're nonsensical, but then they come true?
No, but this one actually doesn't. One of them? I'll tell you, but you know it doesn't actually make sense.
Okay.
I basically was saying...
Tell you that.
Okay, egotistical much. Basically, I was like, oh, what if Marcella gets her claim to fame, and then the Tyrells skip town and are like, JK, we're actually not going to alliance with Tywin anymore. We're going to go in that direction. And then they steal Doran's kid. But then I realized Marcella's literally the one with the claim, so that wouldn't do anything for them.
Or they could just ally themselves with the Martells. Maybe Mace Tyrell dies off somehow and then Willis is heir. And since apparently he and Oberyn were good friends, maybe he can be the reason that the Martells and the Tyrells are finally friends.
That would actually be so cute.
And then they can support the wedding and be like, let's get this Tommen off the throne. That is, of course, unless they marry Marjorie to Tommen, which is what people think is going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it basically, like, I don't know if this is how Westeros works, but in my head it is. In my head, it's basically which wedding gets legitimized first and which person...
Legitimized, like you mean like consummated?
Like consummated, and like basically which wedding happens, I guess, is first thing happens. And then, yeah, which wedding happens, and then basically, I think which person, like, I don't know, they kind of make like a formal claim. Because I feel like, okay, let's say they don't, like, do a whole thing for Tommen yet, and Marcella gets married and is going around being like, I'm the new queen. Like, if there's, like, a whole thing happening, then it kind of becomes one of those,
yeah,
like...
but wouldn't Tywin know that and immediately crown Tommen to avoid any such
But
things?
is it that quick? Can you just really quickly crown? Or is it like a wedding where you have to prepare for it?
Like, right now, Tommen is king.
So you don't have to, like, do a whole, like, changeover ceremony vibes?
I think they do the ceremony, but, like...
It doesn't really
matter.
matter?
The moment Joffrey died, Tommen became king.
Interesting, okay. But if the Martells start getting people on their side, and they use Marcella's claim...
Okay, we're going too deep
down
this.
Basically, I just think that they might try to use it to overthrow. That's my whole point. We've done... This is too much.
All right, now let's move on to Dany, because I don't know, my brain has gone wandering.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Goss jotting.
Goss jotting?
No, mera dimag ghas charne gaya hai.
I don't know.
Which means, that's like a way to say, like, it's wandered off.
Oh, okay. Oh, like to eat grass.
Kids. Yes.
Okay. I needed to translate.
Tera the magika, Johnny.
I needed to translate in my head. Okay. And you said it weirdly and I got confused.
It's because I said it in Hindi instead of in Punjabi.
Yeah, but it's Punjabi words, so it sounded weird.
No.
Is it not?
It's actually Hindi. Like,
oops. Okay, well, whatever. It's fine.
Like, Hindi and Punjabi share words, dude.
I know, but I didn't think those were them. I didn't think those were some of them.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Okay. Danny.
We're really veering off topic. Daenerys. Okay. So she is breaking.
I just realized Daenerys' name is Daenerys.
Oh, because Aerys, like the King Aerys?
Yeah. And like how half of the kings
but we
are
know
named
this.
But I never made that connection.
Targaryens have like 2 or 3 like name endings, and then they just stick like
but I didn't realize they did that for the girly pops too.
Every single one, all of them, everyone. Viserys, Daenerys, Aerys, Harris. There's no Harris, but like
Rhaenys,
Jaehaerys. Rhaenys.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Anyway.
And then they'll take like Ra, and then it's Rahela and Rhaenyra, and it's just like the same name. Just slightest variation.
Okay, anyway, Dany, let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so she is breaking her fast on her terrace of a pyramid.
Whoa.
What did you think when she's like, I'm sitting on top of a pyramid?
I was so lost. Because here's the thing. I'd forgotten everyone and everything. I had to remind myself who Dario was. I had to remind myself which city she was in. All of that. So
not the love of her life.
So at first I just figured like, oh, this is a detail that I'm just like missing. But then, like, a page into it, I realized I was like, no, this was the city she was preparing to infiltrate. And I was so confused, because every other time we see her do the takeover, so I was like, what is this weird switch up? So I was a little confuzzled, but I didn't really get to, like, gawk at it at all, because I was super, like, confused about what was even happening. So, it was a whole thing. I was just very confuzzled. Buzzled.
Okay.
Puzzled.
Yeah, so she's hanging out and kind of recounting the events for us. How convenient.
Wow.
Oh, first she's contemplating how she compares to gods.
She is so, when I was thinking about what our little quick 1-sentence summary should be for these, I was just gonna say Dany is fucking lonely. And like the beginning, it's like in the middle stuff happens, and then it's like she starts off the chapter lonely, middle of the chapter lonely, random moments lonely, ending lonely. And it was so sad. I was like, get this girl a friend.
What do you mean? She's got a whole council surrounding her.
Mm-hmm. That's, when you're surrounded the most, you can feel the most alone.
Suppose that's some kind of profound insight or whatever. But yeah, she's like, oh, I feel sometimes I'm like a god with these pyramids and shit, and gods are lonely. I'm lonely. Missandei, come talk to me about your paradise of a place. Like, Noth just seems like the best place ever.
Mm-hmm. Butterflies slay.
Everybody just not live there.
I am gonna go there right now. Bye, bye.
Yeah. Well, except for the fact that the people are peaceful, so they get, they're easy targets for slavers, which is unfortunate. Mm-hmm. But other than that, Noth sounds like the place to be, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they have butterflies. In Marine, though, they have flies because there's so many dead bodies breeding maggots.
Disgusting.
God, I can't even imagine the smell. Oh.
Do not want to be there. Does not sound fun. Nope.
Yeah.
I want to be where the butterflies are.
Yeah, and Dany's like, I promise I'm going to take you home one day. And then she's like, well, I wonder if Jorah would have not betrayed me if I promised him the same thing.
Oh, God.
But didn't you? Like, I feel like she did.
She definitely did. I think this is just her being cynical, like no one's ever going to be on my side.
Yeah.
She basically did.
These emo teenagers, I can't take it. Then she's like, well, am I a conqueror? I look like a little girl. Which also, I don't know. This whole chapter was like really conflicting for me. Everything I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that. And that was the conclusion, was that I just don't know.
Okay, what makes you say that?
So, like, conquering, colonizing, yay. Those are my thoughts on that. And then I'll talk about the others as they come up.
Okay.
But
please.
So she's talking about how she took over the city, which is the 3 ships she had them dismantled and kind of used to build siege material, including using their masts as the mast of Meraxes, formerly Jozo's prank, broke the eastern gate, which is now named Jozo's cock. So
I spent like 15 seconds of the 30-second summary talking about Jozo's cock.
Yeah.
Which is
And then
funny.
she got those other people to go through the sewers and free some of the enslaved people, who then like led a revolt inside the city.
Rise up. Yeah. Question.
I'm dying. Yes.
Who?
Sorry. Yes. What is your question? Sorry, I'm trying to be normal and not sound like I'm dying. Yes. What's your question?
Whomst is Grolio? What is Grolio?
He is the captain of the ship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's the guy who met them in Karth.
Oh. Interesting.
Right, like Arston and Belwas showed up with these ships, and this guy was the captain of those ships.
Oh, okay.
At least the main one, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
He was the main captain.
Sounds good.
Get a little sleepy.
Just slightly.
It's only like 1 a.m. or something.
Oh my god.
Oh god, it really is.
I
thought I was joking,
we can do
but
it.
it's actually...
It's okay, we can do it. I believe in us.
Okay, so that's how they took the city. And also throwback to a turtle. They also had a turtle.
See, here's my defense. That's why I got so stuck on the cock, because I was thinking about the turtle, and then the turtle led me to think about how I want Jon and Dany to alliance, and then I had all these like dreams. So that's why I was so busy thinking about that, and I kept saying cock because I was so busy thinking about their alliance. But I just said the wrong words.
Alliance. That's what you're thinking about.
What? No, it definitely is. No, it's like... It's not even funny, because these books are so gory, and especially Dany chapters are so intense that every time she's like, oh my god, Dario looked at me, it's like I can't multitask like that, you know what I mean? If we're thinking about war, I'm thinking about war. I can't, like, I hear cock, my brain goes turtle. Like, we're thinking about war, you know? Like, I can't multitask.
I hear cock, I think about turtle.
People are gonna take that so out of context, and I'm mad.
I want to create like a poster with just that on it.
You can't do that. No.
Merch, anyone?
No, absolutely not. Oh my god.
Oh, it's good. I hear cock, I think turtle.
It's fine. You knew what I meant.
Okay, I'm about to have like an asthma attack.
Yeah, my diaphragm hurts. Or not my diaphragm,
okay.
my intercostals hurt.
All right, we get it. You know fancy science words.
What?
I don't know.
You're gonna make him hurt more. Okay, moving on. Okay, so basically...
I want your leaders.
What? You're not making it better. You're not making it better. Okay. Basically, one last thing to mention before we get to we want your leaders.
No, I want your leaders.
Okay, whatever. Dany basically wanted to, like, lead this whole thing herself, but they were all like, you're cray-cray, sit back, queen. And so she kind of watched it happen, so yeah. Anyway, so, I want your leaders. Here we go.
Yes. So once she got in the city, she gathered all the slavers, like the the people who own the people. And it was like, I want your leaders, give those to them, and the rest of you will be spared. And somebody asked how many, and she wants 163, which is the number of kids they had strung up.
Mm-hmm.
And she has these 163 people nailed to wooden posts in the plaza. Another moment of, I don't know how I feel about this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think she knows how she feels about this, even after doing it.
I think that is the point, but I also just don't like it. I just want things to be black and white, and I know they're gray, and it's good that they're gray, but I don't like gray.
I know. It kind of sucks. This is what I worried a lot about with early...
I don't want any shades of gray.
Please. This is...
No Twilight fan fiction, please.
Okay. This is what I feel like I worried a lot about with Arya, and a lot with early Dany too, because there was so much of that, like, Viserys influence, and like, oh yeah, like, you know, being descended from like the Targaryens, like, there's definitely generational shit going on there. Like, it ain't a coincidence that half of them are called Mad Kings, like, you know? So I feel like just with all of that, like, I feel like it's always a thing in the background, but I feel like this chapter is so focused on that too, especially with the whole Barristan thing, that it kind of gives me a bit of hope. Because it's kind of like, I feel like this entire chapter is almost just like nature nurture a little bit. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so, like... Yeah, of course, these people aren't great.
Mm-hmm.
But, and they also did horrible, horrible things to those children.
Mm-hmm.
But is doing the exact same thing to them the right, fair thing to do? And how do you know that the 163 that you're stringing up are the exact 163 that made that decision, you know?
Yeah.
And... like, if you want to punish them, find them, or just kill them. Why this, like, drawn-out torture thing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird, because it's kind of like, they're dead now. So who's it for? So you're trying to scare, like, the ordinary people into submission? You're trying to scare the rest of the leaders into submission? Like, what's... Not leaders, that's too kind of a term. Like, the rest of, like, the slavers, I guess.
Well,
like,
leaders, yeah.
I don't know, it's
like the leaders of the slavers, the real entrepreneurs of their time.
I don't know, it feels like putting a bad mark on the name. But, like, you know, like, it's also just, like, who is it for? What is this serving? You really, because you're already worried about, like, people being skeptical of you, people not seeing you as, like, a real authority. And I just don't know if, like, being more cruel is gonna help that. Like, I get the argument of, like, oh, like, they have to be afraid of you, but I don't know if you have to be cruel for them to be afraid of you. I don't know.
Yeah. So, don't know is the general theme of this chapter, and Dany doesn't know either, and you're right, like, this is what she's contemplating, so at least she's on the way to, like, I think contemplating it is much better than just not thinking about it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's kind of trying to be like, it was just
a little bit of, like,
I did it for the children, and even you can tell she's not feeling 100% about that.
I feel like it's also, like, It's also a little bit of the Ned arc, too, of, like, if you're gonna do it, like, think about it, and, like, I know Ned's is, like, I have to do it, but it basically boils down to, like, actually commit to your actions and make sure they represent what you are, and it's cool that Dany's almost, like, kind of parallel following that, too, of, like, okay, I did this thing, but was it right? Is this how I feel it should have been? So, I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah. So she goes to the audience chamber to meet with her council, but also like to hold an audience. And it's this like big open ceiling room, and there used to be some kind of ugly throne in it, but she got rid of that. So now she sits on a simple ebony bench. And
this is also an interesting contrast to like the throne.
Yeah.
Because it kind of...
Like, she's going for the Iron Throne, while here she's sitting on a simple bench.
Yeah, so it's almost like...
Do you really want the throne, Dany?
Yeah, it's like she's gonna be different no matter what. So yeah, this chapter, that's the thing. It was like, I was like, oh my god, this sucks. But like with Tyrion's, but with this, I don't know. There were some moments where it was just like, I feel like this is just like a really beautiful, like subtle back and forth of Dany, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely a good chapter of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would want to read like a book of it, but
yeah,
the chapter is good.
I don't think I want to read a book of anything that happens in these chapters in these books, to be completely honest.
I don't think I want to read these books.
Period.
Yeah, so she's thinking about how Meereen had been rich beyond imagining, and even her sellswords are satisfied for now. Which is saying something, because like sellswords are famously never satisfied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like she's okay for now, money wise, and she's got all her people, and she's like, who among these is gonna betray me next? And she thinks, like, she's always thinking about the House of the Undying and like all her visions and stuff there. And she remembers the dragon has 3 heads. And her conclusion from this is that there are 2 men in the world who I can trust if I can find them. And then I will not be alone. We will be 3 against the world, like Aegon and his sisters. What? What?
Yeah, I don't quite get it either. Also, why do they have to be men?
Yeah, like any of this. What?
Yeah, okay, let's go on about why. Okay, so the dragon has 3 heads. Okay, why?
Is she like, I need 2 husbands like Aegon had 2 wives?
I think so. Like, yeah, like the companionship vibes.
But like, what qualifies you to be one of the heads of the dragon? Like,
yeah,
I guess she's the head of the dragon because she's a Targaryen, and like all of us fans can be like, Jon's a head of a not a head of a Targaryen. He's a head of a dragon because he's also a secret Targaryen.
Exactly.
So, are we like rounding up secret Targaryens? Like, what's happening?
I don't know. I don't think she knows either.
Yeah, it was just like a weird, like, I don't think she's like straight up in like, I need to find 2 guys who I can fuck and then we can rule the world. Like,
oh my god.
Right? She hasn't said that before.
I don't think so. I don't know. It
kind of came out of nowhere for me.
Please.
Maybe not. Maybe like she's been like really, maybe I missed something, but it was weird. So yeah. Her and Jon and that alliance of theirs.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm literally telling you it's gonna happen.
Yeah, like
I'm so excited.
I have real faith that both of them are gonna survive to see that.
If they both don't survive, I'm done. Absolutely done.
What if one of them survives but not the other?
If Jon survives, it's okay.
If so you basically just don't want Jon to die.
Well, okay, I also don't want Dany to die, but if I had to choose, like, I'm not saving her, like...
Jon fangirl.
I never said I wasn't.
Okay, so yeah, she is planning on finding herself a couple of husbands, and she thinks they're out in the world, and it's just upon her to find them.
Okay, queen. Be the initiator.
I mean, that's fine. Like, have as many husbands or wives or people or spouses or partners or whatever you want. Like, that's cool. It was just like a very sudden realization of that.
Yeah.
Or a sudden voicing of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It threw me off balance.
Mm-hmm.
Took me by surprise, threw me off balance. All of those cliche whatevers. Okay, so after the sacking, there was lots of chaos, but now she is bringing order to the city. And anybody who kills loses their life. Anybody who loots loses their hand. And anybody who rapes loses their manhood. I mean, I get the assumption, but like, rapists don't have to. Okay. We're not going to get into that discussion, but apparently they filled buckets with human parts.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't think I registered that last line as I was reading it, so now it's really hitting me. I think I, like, skipped over it. I was like, oh, okay, justice. Okay, she's doing things. Oh, God.
Yeah, also, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, of course, I don't want people to do any of these things, but, I don't know. Like, is taking body parts the right way to deal with it? But I'm also an prison abolitionist, so I don't think prison's the right thing either. So what do I think? What is the solution to all of the world's problems, Harmith? What is it?
Okay, we're getting very deeply philosophical here, and we're going to move on, because I don't think this discussion is going to get us to an answer, because I think it's one of those, no matter what she does, we're going to criticize her because there's no right way to do it.
Okay, that's true. I will agree with that
So
statement.
I think the best we can do is acknowledge it and move on, because, like, I don't know what, like, there's nothing to unpack, you know? It's just like, this is what she did. This was what she thought was right. I don't know if I agree that it was right, but it's what she did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I'm not in charge of a city. People are always like, I would vote for you. You should run for politics. And I'm like, be in charge?
Yeah.
Of everybody's everything?
Yeah. That's the thing. I think it's really hard to be critical in that way and then ever, like, imagine, like, doing it. Because it's like, because it's like, it's so ingrained. I feel like that's the thing. That's why it's always the wrong people doing things. Because it's like, it's the people who are able to, like, shut that off and be like, okay, well, just YOLO, you know? That end up doing it.
Yeah, what do I want? And I'm just going to do what I want as opposed to what's actually best for people. Because that requires effort, and who wants to do that?
Exactly. So it's, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah, okay, we're getting so philosophical.
Yeah, I don't like this. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Well, it is 1 a.m., so I don't think it's our fault entirely.
I don't think so. Okay. Flies are the dead man's revenge. I really liked that line, and I don't know why, so I felt the need to bring it up. I'm not going to get philosophical about it, so we're going to move on.
Okay, we're just going to state the facts of the,
exactly.
I was going to say case,
I was
but,
about
like,
to
the
say
chapter.
Case too. Please.
Of the chapter.
I think it's because you and I both grew up with a lot of crime and lawyering shows and that sort of thing, so it's, like, deeply in our bodies. Anyway, yes, we're going to state the facts. So now they're about to take the 163 people out of the plaza because it's been this whole spectacle. Everyone's seen it. And Brown Ben is kind of, like, subtly trying to be like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do, but, like, without really saying it. Like, he's a little bit like, oh, yeah, and they're crawling with the, like, bugs. And Danny's like, yeah, we get it. Okay, yeah, moving on, you know? And she's like, harsh justice is still justice.
I made a horror justice great, but surely they deserved it.
Harsh justice is still justice. Interesting thoughts.
Moving on.
Exactly.
Missandei is like, okay, well, their tradition is to bury these people in crypts, so why don't we clean off the bones and then return them to their people? And Dany's like, you know what? Yeah, that's cool. Let's do it. And then there are 2 petitioners who have come to see her today. And they both arrived on a ship called Indigo Star, which is a slaver ship out of Karth, which is great. And the first of them is an envoy from Astapor, who is there on behalf of King Cleon.
Interesting.
Who used to be enslaved in Astapor, but now has taken over and has started enslaving the previous slavers, because that's cool. And Dany's like, well, how's there a king? I left a council. And no support for them at all, but like, why isn't that fine?
Oh my god.
I mean, she is a young girl and does not know the ways of war, but I mean, I'm just glad I'm not her.
Yeah. I don't know. This is another one of those, like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like...
I think George R. R. Martin is posing very deep questions here, and I really hope he has some answers, because if you're just leaving me in limbo with all these thoughts, fuck you, dude.
Exactly. But it's like, I don't know, because it's like...
Like, how do you come up with solutions to this?
Exactly, because it's like, you know, we see her doing whatever she decides is right, and then we question it, and we break it down, and we decide why it's not right, but then none of us can come up with what is right, because there is no right. It's just like, you just kind of make the most of whatever you decide to do. But at the end of the day, you're still, like, doing wrong. So how do you reconcile with that? And how do you... Okay, no, shut up. No, shut up. No. Anyway.
We are not the right people for this.
We are too, like, we overthink too much. This is not... I'm sure there are people in the world who just cover this and are like, yeah, interesting.
Somebody please write us a script for these chapters. Because
exactly. Somebody write us a little light and breezy way to get through these chapters. Like, oh, and then, with my customer service voice.
Slay Dany.
Slay Dany. Slay Dany, slay. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, how do you...
Not literally. We didn't mean it so literally.
There's no winning. I don't know. That's the thing. No, politics and leadership is hard. It's like, what do you do? What's right?
Yeah, but, like, it is true. Like, if she's gonna rule 7 kingdoms, she's gotta figure out
how to rule a city.
At least a city, but also, I gotta say, though, the political situation in Westeros is very different.
But I think it's just one of those, she's a kid and she needs experience, and she also wants to establish herself a little bit. So even if it's different, I think there's transferable, like, skills, you know?
What are you, a resume builder? Transferable stuff.
But there are, like, that's what it is.
I know. It's just funny. Because I've been surrounded by people talking about resumes, like, for several weeks now, and that's, like, every one of them uses that.
I can't. Oh my god. I've internalized it.
Okay, so...
Internalized the corporate dialogue.
Okay, so King Cleon, he has taken over now, and this guy is obviously like, oh, well, the council was scheming to restore the masters, so Cleon exposed their plots and killed them, hacked off their heads with a cleaver, and the grateful folk of Astapor have crowned him for his valor. I'm sure that's exactly how it went. It's not until somebody else is like, oh yeah, he's enslaving the previous slavers now. Like, this guy doesn't even mention it. And he is your greatest ally, and he bids me to declare his devotion to you. And he proposes a pact between us against the Yunkai because those guys are up to no good. Because they're plotting against you right now and they're raising new forces and they're going to come get you unless you marry Cleon.
How convenient.
Yeah. And he'll give you many strong sons. And Missandei, oh, the MVP.
Mm.
How many sons exactly did his first wife give him?
Ooh.
Oh, well, he has 3 daughters by his first wife. And 2 of his newer wives are with child, but, like, he's going to put them all aside for the mother of dragons.
Please. Can't even handle a single Y chromosome. Go off. Go off, sir.
How noble of him. I will consider all you've said, my lord. And she sends him off. And then she's like, find him somewhere to rest his ass. I don't know. Get out of my face. Then comes this merchant guy from Karth.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, wait, before the guy, she's thinking about how, like, by hearing what's happened in Astapor, like, how it's reverting back to its, totalitarian regime type things, people in Meereen are going to be like, well, there's no point in staying where we are, so we're just going to come with you. And wherever she goes, they're not, like, how is she going to feed all these people? That's going to be a whole logistical nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she needs a place to set these people up where she knows for sure that they'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's when the merchant guy comes in. And he's like, oh, Astapor is horrible. And the guys enslaving every highborn boy and turning them into new Unsullied. And that's horrible because it's going to take years for them to be trained, and I have nobody to enslave and sell off and all that.
What the heck?
Yeah.
Dear God.
And so he's like, well, I am here. Want to give me some slaves so that I could give you all this cool stuff? And Dany's like, there's no people for sale here. Get out of here. And then Dario steps up and is like, actually, there's a whole, like, line of people begging for leave to be allowed to sell themselves to this guy.
Oh my God.
And Dany's like, what? What is that? How does that make any sense? And it's because they're like, well educated and like had higher like positions of teachers and scholars and healers and priests. And they were living pretty good lives, even though their lives were owned by other people. Whereas now they don't have a way to make a living. So they would much rather be sold off and then like be taken care of in those other free cities. So Dany's like, okay, I guess. Anyone who wishes to sell himself can do it, or like if a woman wants to do it, like any person can sell themselves, but they can't sell their spouse or their children because that obviously that's not good. That's not cool. So what if somebody has kids? Are they going to then leave their kids behind?
If they want, if that's really what they desire, then I guess.
Like, I know it's a whole new economic system where now you have to like pay the people who you are getting services from. But like, people in Meereen will eventually need tutors and scribes and healers and priests and all of those things, right?
Yeah, so if they all leave.
Well, not all leave, but like I think there's a better option where like instead of having to sell yourself into slavery to get that, what if we make some jobs? Like,
yeah.
You know? I don't know.
No.
Once again, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah. I don't know.
Does a person's freedom extend to the point where they can sell themselves their freedom? Like,
yeah,
you know?
I don't know. Yeah, because it's also like, I mean,
this is why I got depressed in my
human rights degree and went to business.
Yes.
I mean, I always understood.
There's no gray area in numbers usually.
No, but I totally get what you're saying, but I feel like it's also like regardless of whether a person's freedom extends that far, that's an existential crisis I'm not ready to think about. But regardless of that, I feel like there's some way in which, like, Dany's like, okay, this is what people want to do. Why don't we give them some incentives to stay? Like you said, like, because, I mean, well, maybe that's what they're going to do now. Because she's staying here. So maybe now she is going to help set up that more, like, equality-based society and, like...
Yeah, like, where you get paid for your services.
And, like, doing shit.
Because the skills aren't, like, gonna disappear. Like, these people are gonna retain their skills.
Yeah.
That they learned through horrible means, but, like...
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
I think it's
city,
just also,
any place
like...
is gonna need all these skills, too, so...
Yeah, 100%. I think it's also just, like, they're so, like... Because even earlier, there's, like, little signs of them, like, questioning her ability to lead. So I think that's also just, like, part of it, because it's, like, she just, like, kind of showed up, and so they're like, who's this random Mother of Dragons chick?
That's true. Like, and this outsider comes to your country and then, or city, and then tells you that the ways that you're doing things are wrong.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
So it's almost like this...
Meanwhile, slavery... is wrong.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, where do you find the balance? So, like, I think, yeah, like...
Yeah, but
because she hasn't done anything to prove herself to them at all.
Yeah.
And now there's almost this feel of, like, if they want to go, they can go, but I think there should be at least a final attempt. I think at the end of the day, I'm on the side of, like, they can decide... Even though it's, like, really fucked up and their perception of what they can decide is also fucked up because they've been enslaved their whole life, whatever. But, like, I feel like we should at least try to offer them an alternative because right now there isn't an alternative.
I just figured out the solution to it all.
Mm-hmm.
She needs a PR team. She needs people out there preaching her message. She's going to set up labor laws and unions and get people paid for the work they do. But people don't know that she's going to do this because... she doesn't have a PR team.
I'm dead.
So if these people knew that there's something better coming, like, down the line, then they might reconsider the selling themselves into slavery.
Please.
Business, you know?
Sure.
Get yourself some street criers. I don't know what the version of, like, social media is.
Oh my. I can't. That's interesting.
But, like... Okay, so first off, I don't think she has, like, I'm talking about labor laws, I'm talking about unions, I'm talking about all these things. I don't think she's, like, actually set those up or has considered exactly all of those.
Yeah.
But if she is building an economy that doesn't rely on slavery, then those will have to come along, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I don't know, like...
It's tough.
Like, read a book. I don't know. Like, where do you learn how to set up labor laws?
I think there's gonna be...
Where do you learn how to revolutionize a city?
I mean, I think here it's just trial and error, right? Like, it's like, for example, she tried what she tried with Astapor, and it really didn't fucking work, so she's not gonna do that again.
So maybe she'll learn from this, like, letting people let themselves be enslaved. Also, it's a system that's, like, ripe for what's the word when you what do billionaires do to people that work for them? Exploit.
Oh. I was like,
it's
what?
ripe for exploitation. Because how are they gonna prove that this person in fact sold themselves and isn't being forced into it? Like, who's going to enforce this? Who's going to be standing there checking to make sure that they're not being pressured into it, you know?
For what specifically?
Into slavery.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, you better go over there and say you want to be my slave, or I will kill you. Like, who's gonna stop that kind of thing?
Right.
Or I'll kill your children, or I'll kill your like, whatever.
Yeah. That's interesting, yeah. I don't know, there's like, so much.
Enforcing this, like, only free will slavery is, like,
right.
impossible.
And especially because I think it's almost like, yeah, I think you're completely right there, because it's like, it's totally unfair to say, to know everything that they've gone through and be like, oh, they're still capable of complete unbiased free will, and they're definitely not going to jump straight to what they've known their entire life, even if it's painful or like you know what I mean? Like, it's
free
crazy.
Will, does that even exist?
Okay, we need to move on. I can't.
I feel like I should take this moment to welcome our audience to the first ever 4-hour episode of the Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. You're gonna have so much fun editing this.
Can't. I'm gonna start crying. We've recorded later than this and never gotten this philosophical. Like, usually we just get really, like, jokey and, like, vibey.
Well, these chapters
are true.
That.
They are.
So,
they're
like,
really, like, oh my god. Dany chapters are always that, though. It's like we go to, like, Arya's chapters and it's like, frick, Gregor threatened people again. Oh no, she's on the King's Road with Sandor. And, like, not to, like, discount everything that happens to her, but it's just, like, and, like, we feel for her, and she's experiencing all these, like, really intense things, but then we go over to, like, Dany, and she's out here, like, trying to, like, freaking free a city from being enslaved. Like, it's a different caliber of pressure, and it's always, like, Dany's chapters are always, like, that's why I feel like even if you don't like her as a person, you have to enjoy her chapters, because they're just so big. And there's so much.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't! This is so much. Like, yeah, oh my god. Whoa.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, let's try to move on.
That's her decision on that.
Okay, so just to clarify.
Okay, we're not moving on because I have more thoughts.
Okay, you can continue your thoughts. Go.
So Miss Missandei, like, points out that in Astapor they took, like, a 10% tax on the price of each transaction in slavery. And Dany's like, okay, cool, we'll do the same thing, and we're going to get gold or silver because Marine doesn't need, like, saffron and shit. So now you're gonna profit off of people being enslaved.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a little like, oh yeah, they're doing it, let's do it.
Yeah, there's...
I don't know, because it's like... I don't know, because there's that, but then I guess she can argue, like, oh, but, like, they're choosing to do it. But it's still, like, that's...
Yeah, but if you are allowing it, but don't agree with it, does it make sense to profit off of it?
I don't think so, no.
No, exactly. So, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah.
But it's the same kind of thing as, like, I don't know. Like cigarettes.
Or yeah, continue. You had a better example than I did.
Okay, so, like, people are free to buy cigarettes if they like, but the government entirely discourages it. Like, there's the packaging literally says smoking kills. Like, you're gonna die, and there's really graphic images and, you know, all the stuff to deter people from it.
Mm-hmm.
And the government still taxes it. And in fact, tax is a way to de-incentivize people from doing something because, you know, then they have to pay more money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But since tax, like sales tax, is so common, it's not really enough of a deterrent, and the government just ends up, like, making money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the government makes in our province, for example, such a large portion of the provincial income comes from like the liquor and lotteries stuff, which is like gambling and everything. And I mean, if you want to gamble, like whatever. I'm not here to like talk about the morality of any of these actions, but it's both like don't do it, but also do it because we want to make money off of it. And it's a real. Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's parallels to this decision of Dany's in real life as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but then it's also tough, right? Because it's like that money's supposed to be used to better help, like the people who are paying the tax and like everything. But it's like if it's not, then it's just on that line of like exploitation.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Like, how do we know that those exact dollars are, like, being actually used towards our school system?
Yeah.
Or,
like, if
whatever,
Dany's actually going to use this money to establish the things we talked about developing earlier.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess I'm just talking about provincial politics. less about Daenerys'
no, but
situation.
That was kind of a perfect example. That's not where I thought you were going with it. I was about to make a really dumb example because I thought you were going in a different direction.
Okay.
But,
well,
so no, I think that's a good example though, because it makes sense now that you explain it. Yeah. I don't know!
There we go.
This is tough.
World sucks. I don't like
Everything sucks, and I hate everything, basically. Okay, because when she said this, I was confused about the phrasing, so I'm glad you clarified that too. I was like, are we taxing 1/10 of their pay? Are we, like...
Yeah,
or is it, like...
They take 10% of every...
No, that makes sense, but I wasn't sure if it was... I wasn't sure if it was that, like, if it was tax, or if it was the same idea as, like, you have to pay them. It's almost like you're outsourcing them. So I got confused because I was like, what do you mean 10%? Are you outsourcing them? So I wasn't sure if it was tax or outsourcing. That's where I got lost.
I don't know where you got outsourcing.
No, because I just with the money, I like got confused. I forgot taxes existed. I was like, what do you mean you're paying 10%? What? I was like, is it you're paying 10% of their salary? Like, what's happening? But
yeah, no, taking
makes sense.
Also, what happens to... So you are selling yourself. What do you do with that money? Can't your, like, now master be like, I own you, therefore everything you own, so I want that money back?
Oh, God. I don't know!
Like, I guess if you have family, you could give it to them, but...
Maybe it's more like... I don't know. Maybe it's more like... you have this money, but you never have the time or energy to use it. Like, it's like then your money and name.
I guess everybody would do it because of the, like, these are people who want those particular positions that they feel are comfortable.
Yeah. And it's all they've ever known, and I think there's also a point of, like, they've been convinced that, like, that's their, like, this is a good social standing for who you are. You know, like, oh, you've been enslaved and, like, a teacher's the highest you're gonna get, you know? So I think there's right. Almost this thing of, like, oh, I have this amazing, quote, unquote, job. So it's almost like they can't let go of it, too.
Yeah, but that still doesn't answer the question of, like...
What's the benefit?
What about not the benefit, the money, the literal,
the money,
like...
I don't know, maybe it's just, like, they can use it, like, at some point, or, like... family members, or like maybe it's like they get like I don't know the logistics, I don't think they explain it, but maybe they get like,
but I think they should have at least talked about the logistics.
Yeah, they definitely didn't, because
like this decision, you know how, so oh my god, I'm just like, why am I using so much of my class knowledge in this podcast right now?
That's so funny.
But whenever laws and policies are drawn up, the goal is to make them so clear that there's really no room for interpretation. Mm-hmm. So that there's, like, no confusion ever.
Yeah.
But this is, like, so vague. It's like, yeah, sell yourself, just not other people, and we'll take 10%. Like, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You need to... it needs to have multiple, like...
Totally agree. But also, this is a child trying to run a city for the first time. And this is a random thing that has been thrust upon her. Like, well, they want to sell themselves.
No wonder Robert didn't want to do this stuff.
Yeah,
like, I'd have never thought that I would be like, oh, you know what? Robert had a point.
Yeah, Robert had a point of, like, why don't I just go party and numb myself to the struggles of the world? You know, yeah, honestly, there might be some lore there of, like, Robert kind of trying and then realizing, oh, like, I'm not the right person for this and I don't want to... Like, do you know what I mean? If he was more suited to it, like, if it was someone who was more suited to it, maybe they would have eventually even ended up... But Tywin did it for a while, so maybe you need to have a very specific personality.
I think that is true.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Robert was ill-suited to it and definitely didn't know what he was getting himself into, and then on top of that was already prone to partying and all that, and then on top of that used that to just numb himself from being a terrible human being because he had this job and then didn't do shit. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Moving on.
Dear God.
The Stormcrows are going to collect this tax.
But they're gonna keep some records.
Yeah, because they're not the most trustworthy. So they're gonna find some freedmen who can keep the records for them. Mm-hmm. And so that guy leaves. And...
This was so icky. Icky.
Yes.
This went from philosophical to ick so quick, and I was not here for it.
This part, I don't have any hesitations about. So Jorah and Barristan are brought in, and Jorah's comes in with his head bowed, and Barristan comes in with his head proud. Rhymes. Add it to the nursery rhyme. What are we talking about? Oh, yeah, so... She's like, well, he should be more humble like Jorah. But then when he talks, he gives it straight to her. He's like, I did go over to, what's his name? Robert, but that's because he was cool. Sorry.
Please.
That's because he was a good knight and chivalrous and brave, and he spared my lives and the lives of others. And I knew your brother, and, like, first off, he wasn't going to be king for a while. And second, and most importantly, he...
was kind of trash.
Yeah, he was your father. He was his father's son. And then he's like, what does that mean? And Barristan's like, well, didn't anybody tell you? Like, he was called a mad king. And she's like, well, obviously that's propaganda. That's not true. It's a lie. And Barristan's like, well, why do you ask for the truth when you're going to close your ears to it?
Damn, king. Also, I was so right about him being, like, the perfect mentor icon slave, because he just is. She needs him.
Well, maybe he can be like, oh, that law you just passed, we need to come back and revise it real quick.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's a laws guy or just more of, like, a do the right thing guy vibes, you know?
Yeah.
But hopefully, we'll see.
Anyway.
Well, technically, he was on the frickin'
council.
So maybe he learned a thing or two.
Wasn't Renly in charge of laws?
That's really funny. I don't think he did a thing with that.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Barristan is like, and since we're like, you know, bearing all truths here, I also didn't want to pledge myself to you immediately. I wanted to watch you for a while to make sure you weren't
trashy.
She's filled in like my father's daughter, but he's like mad. But I see no taint in you.
Oh God.
Interesting.
He tried
phrasing.
But she was like, she was not her father's daughter. Who was she? It was a little like, aw.
Yeah. But then Barristan's like, well, I'm no, like, historian, but King Jaehaerys, who I knew, and probably the last person to have ever known, still alive, told me once that madness and greatness are two sides of the same coin. Every time a new Targaryen is born, he said, the gods toss the coin in the air, and the world holds its breath to see how it will land. I think this is the first time I've realized that the Targaryens themselves admitted this.
That they were mad.
Like, not mad, but there was a tendency for mental illness.
Yeah.
I thought this was a saying that everybody else said about
But
the
they
Targaryens.
didn't.
I didn't realize, like, the literal Targaryen king was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, and Daenerys is like, okay, I guess, thinking about it, and oh my god, this guy knew my grandfather, and he's probably forgotten more than anybody else even knows.
Mm-hmm. Exactly,
and,
Dany.
He could be useful to me.
Exactly. This is what I've been freaking on about.
Yeah, but then, so he's like, yeah, but I believe you are the true-born heir of Westeros, and I will serve you in any way I can. And she's like, well, what if I made you a cook? And he's like, well, I make a mean, roasted duck.
Mm-hmm.
And she smiles at that and is like, okay, you know what? You're forgiven. And gives him Brown Ben Plum's sword. Because first she asked Brown Ben to give it directly to him. But he's like, well, the last time I held a sword, I threw it at Joffrey's feet. And I swore that I will not take one unless I get it from the hand of my queen. So he's literally been fighting with a stick this whole time.
That's... wow.
Yeah.
And he'd been doing all that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're going to have to edit out so much coughing.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
But I had rice tonight, and that always kind of sets me off. And then we've been jabbering for so long.
Please.
But yeah, so she hands it to him, and he swears his fealty to her and all of the thing. And she's like, well, that was the easy one. Now the other will be harder.
Oh, God.
And immediately Jorah's like, well, I helped you. I think he does this earlier, actually. It's like, not even I helped you, I won you this city. And Dany has to be like, you helped me win this city. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, I've tried telling you so many times. I warned you. You warned me against everyone except yourself. Which was such a good line. And she's basically just like he needs to grovel at my feet, and he needs to be humble and like want me to actually forgive him. Like, why is he telling me things instead of like actually like thinking about what he's actually freaking done? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And
you spied on me and sold me to my enemies. And he's like, well, I did it for a little bit, but then I stopped. And she's like, so when exactly did you stop? In Karth, after he was creepily, like after the creepy, like, God. Oh, you look like my ex-wife who I am longing after scene.
Oh,
and like, I saw you birth dragons and shit.
God, that was like maybe like a month ago.
It was more than a month ago, but
like in their world, it was maybe.
It was a few months ago, but it was very.
I feel like that was in this book, and that's not okay.
I think they left Karth in the last book.
Oh, whatever. It's fine. Yeah, I'm not okay with this. Absolutely not.
Yeah, it was still, like, ridiculous. Like, what?
Yeah.
And then she realizes that he was the one who told of her pregnancy. And he's like, he tries to talk about it, but, like, Barristan's like, well, I was there. I saw it. And, you were the source, and there was even talk that you might do the deed for a pardon. And Jorah's like, well, no, I would never do that, and I stopped him from killing you and all of that stuff.
Oh my God.
And she's like, well, how did you know that it was gonna happen?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he got a letter from Varys, who told him there would be attempts, and Varys wanted Daenerys watched, but not harmed. Hey, Daenerys, is Varys a Targaryen? He's a Targaryen murderer?
Oh my God. I mean, I still think Varys is internally on Dany's side, so this adds up. And also the entire time he was like, Robert, don't kill her. She's just a baby. So.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, Varys never said that.
Who was like, was it Ned? He was like, she's just a baby.
Yeah, it was Ned and Barristan. Literally the only two people who argued against it.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah. You betrayed me, and the poisoner tried to kill my son because of you. And he's like, no, I never meant, you have to forgive me. And she's like, have to? I don't have to do shit.
Oh my god.
And, like, he should have started off begging for this forgiveness. Instead, he is telling her that she must grant him this forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, fuck you and fuck your apologies, and I am going to banish your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can't kill him because he, served her or whatever. But she can't have him by her side. So she banishes him. And he says, Daenerys, I have loved you. And then she thinks to herself, and there it was. 3 treasons will you know, once for blood, and once for gold, and once for love.
Okay. So, love is Jorah? Ick?
I agree with you that I don't think it's like, I think her assessment is wrong.
Okay.
So once for blood, that's obviously Miri Mazdur.
Yeah.
What's once for gold? Who betrayed her for gold?
Viserys? Illyrio? Because they kind of like sent her off. I don't know if it's a betrayal though.
Chronological.
I don't know who else would have betrayed her for gold though. Maybe it was one of the people like in the. Do you remember that person who took her to the House of the Undying?
Oh right, the Carthene betrayed her, I guess.
I don't know who else though.
Oh, it was that guy. The guy who wanted the dragon.
Oh.
Who the Carthene. Zaruzo and Daxos, he wanted to marry her because then he could request a dragon of her.
Mm-hmm. That was for gold?
I think that was maybe.
But I don't know how that's gold.
Dragon. I don't know. Can somebody please remind us what this gold business is? Because if she thinks Jorah is love, then what the hell is gold? But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Jorah is love. That's
he's just creepy and obsessed.
If anything, Jorah's might be for gold,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And he starts to be like, no, Daenerys, please hear me. And like reaches for her. And she's like, don't ever presume to touch me again or to speak my name. Finally. I needed her to say this like 2 books ago.
Yeah. Also, question though. This whole Jorah business of him still... Because I fully was like, oh, he's on her side now. But the fact that he still did it until Karth... Honestly, I think the only reason he admitted to that is because Barristan was there. But I feel like, what if he didn't actually stop after Karth? Like, what if he stopped, but it wasn't because he was going to stop forever? Like, what if he's still kind of like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust this guy at all.
Yeah, especially now. I think before I kind of trusted him because I thought his creepy obsession was enough to kind of keep him on her side, but clearly it wasn't. Because he was being creepy and betraying her. Same time. So I don't know.
So he is like, he might go and literally serve against with her.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he might wait around. But the thing is, if she doesn't take him...
Wait around where?
I don't know, like just like outside the city waiting for an opportunity to like grovel. Not grovel, but like come back in and try to do some shit.
Okay.
But I feel like...
I'm going to say that again because that was real coffee. Wait around where? And then if you want, you can edit it out or edit it back in.
Because I feel like also his thing is like... I mean, he was always like, oh, let's go to the Jade Sea. Let's go do this. So he does know people there. But I don't know if the reason he kept...
Does he?
But listen, but I don't know if he kept being like, oh, the reason I want to go down Danny is because then he has a way to go there and like... resources and like a whole squad. So I don't know if he'd be able to pull that off alone. So he might just have to try to serve like Robert and them. Not Robert. Robert's dead. But like...
So what's your official prediction? Do you think he's going to head like east or towards Westeros?
I think Westeros, because he might be like, I can serve you in some way, please.
Yeah, I guess, like, may as well get a pardon out of it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they, Strong
Yeah,
Belwas
like he
drags him
might just
out.
go and be like, oh, well, she has dragons and I can tell you all about these weaknesses and all of this, and, you know? So, yeah.
Indeed. So Belwas drags him out of the room, and Dario's like, well, you're kind and all, but he is really dangerous, and you just need to give me the tiniest nod, and I will go fetch you his ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, just let him go. And I'm done for now, so sleepy, sleep, sleep.
Mm-hmm. And
I think she pictures him, like, going back home to, like, Bear Island, because she pictures this, like, log hall built of huge logs, and there's, yeah, right? Like, what else is she picturing there?
I think so. Yeah, because let him go home. I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, so she goes upstairs, changes into comfortable clothing. Then she reads her book of Westerosi stories given to her by Jorah.
Oh, God.
And she can't really focus on it, but she's like, I guess I should have banished him. I should have kept him, or I should have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And she still can do either. Like, it's not dawn yet. He has to leave by dawn. It's still night.
Mm-hmm.
And
but this was a cute little, like, she loves the stories, Sansa likes the stories for different reasons, but, like, you know, it was a cute little parallel. I liked it.
Yeah. And then she's thinking about, like, was Miss Viserys really mad? And am I my father's daughter? And those kinds of things. And she goes out on the terrace, which sounds like a really nice, like, little area, you know? And her Viserion and Drogon are there, but no, sorry. Rhaegal and Drogo are there, but Viserion is off in the distance hunting. And she's like, oh my God, they're getting bolder every day. And one day one of them may, like, fly off and not return. Do you think that's a possibility?
I hope not.
Okay, but what do you think?
No, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that was very clear. So yes, it is a possibility that one of them will fly off and never return?
Yes.
Because people can't see this, so I guess I'm just going to take the yes.
I was shaking my head while saying yes, for context.
So
fine, yes. It is a podcast at the end of the day. Voice prevails, you know?
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so
why is it called a podcast?
We can't discuss this. No.
Okay.
After, later.
Okay.
So, okay. Also, they're growing. Is she actually going to be able to actually control her dragons? Like, to what extent?
But, like, they're her girly pops. They're her pets.
Yeah, but they're huge, like, basically fire-breathing flying tanks, kind of.
Yeah, but they are her pets.
Her children, you
Yeah,
mean?
whatever. That's creepy. That's creepy, and I don't like to think of it that way.
Well, they are the blood of the dragon.
Please.
So no, like, so yes, she will be able to control them, and no, they won't abandon her.
Yes, to all that.
But one of them may fly away and not return.
No, I don't think that would be not return. I think that would be like maybe someone shoots the dragon down and then she gets their vengeance or something. What? It's possible.
Where did we get the shooting the dragon down?
It's possible. They're all haters.
Okay. Well, then the dragon will only have 2 heads. That doesn't go with the whole scheme of
Okay,
things.
well, sucks to suck. Should have kept your dragons in check.
All right. Okay. Well, Barristan comes and says hi to her, and he's like, well, she at first is like, dude, I don't want to talk to you. I already forgave you. Get out of her face. And then he's like, well, I thought you might have questions for me, given the fact that I have all the knowledge.
Given that I'm the old grandpa.
Yeah. So she has a billion questions, but the first one she asks is like, was my father truly mad?
Aww.
And, Barristan is like diplomatic about it. Like, he was fine. Like, he had always had a little bit of madness to him, but he was charming and generous, and his lapses were rare until they weren't. And then he kind of like trails off and is like, Daenerys is like, do I really want to hear this now? And Barristan says, maybe not now.
Oh my god.
One day you must tell me all, the good and the bad. And I'm like, I don't know, Danny, like, he's old. Just hear it now. Like, I can't. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Like, okay. Like, I'm concerned that she's not going to have the opportunity to hear it all, is what I'm concerned about. But also, I totally understand, like, having to be in the right headspace to hear this kind of thing.
Yeah, because you want to be able to soak it in and, like... But I'm also, like, worried that he's gonna, like, die tomorrow, you know?
Yeah, I want her to be like, write me a letter, and then I can read it at my leisure, you know?
That's smart.
Write me a book, old man.
Does she know how to read?
Write me a story. Does she know how to read?
Yeah.
She was literally just reading a book.
Oh, wait!
What?
Wait, it's like 2 a.m., okay? I'm tired.
Does she know how to read?
You know, sometimes I get a little confused.
Clearly. So we
had this like super like eloquent discussion about like, oh my god, like, what is the world? What is
Okay, we're literally rounding on 3 hours now. We got to
and then I'm like, does she know how to read? It's like, how can a person totally...
It's okay, we got range.
Cray-cray, we got range, basically, yeah.
Okay, Barristan leaves. Mm-hmm. She eats dinner, but not really. No, it literally says she could eat none of it. So she sits down for dinner, but she doesn't eat any of it.
Oh my god.
And then when it's time for sleep, she takes Eerie into bed with her for the first time since the ship. And there's another thing that I don't know how I feel about. Like, obviously, I want everybody all the time to be gay, but I don't know if this is that. But also, don't you have to have like a bit of the gay in you to like even get off with somebody who's
I don't know.
Okay, so she's saying that she's thinking about Drogo or Dario during the entire time. Mm-hmm. So to me, then that gives off like vibrator, you know?
Yeah. Please. That's an interesting. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like, girls doesn't have a plastic vibrator. Like, she's got to do something.
Yeah.
So there's that, but then also like, there's no denying the fact that Eerie is an actual human being. Mm-hmm. And
I don't know, because
like, Eerie is not an object.
Yeah.
But I feel like Dany's kind of treating her like this, because she's like, oh, I'm really actually thinking about Dario. But then she has this moment where she's like, she's looking at Eerie, and for a moment she's tempted, but then she realizes it's Drogo or Dario she wants, not Eerie, and she's like, the maid was sweet and skillful, but her kisses tasted of duty. So if they didn't taste of duty, would you be into her? Like,
I don't know. That's a good question, but I don't think we have the answer.
Yeah, I don't think so either, but maybe Dany gay.
Maybe. Possible.
Yeah, I still... this is definitely a 2 a.m. thought, but like, I, in my deepest not even that deep, but like in my heart, believe that everybody is a little gay. Some less so than others.
I'm dead.
So where on the gay scale is Dany?
Please. That's funny. I don't know.
So
I don't know.
That's another question.
Maybe she'll explore that.
I just wish I don't know. I want Erie's perspective on this. How does she feel about it? Maybe she's like, well, she doesn't sleep all night. She's like always cranky in the morning, so I just need to get her
Please
do whatever I need to do to get her to sleep.
Please, that's funny. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird.
So
excuse me.
Yeah. That's all I got. This is like this whole chapter is full of things I don't know how I feel about it.
It's just thoughts. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So all of that, and then she basically is like, I can't sleep, whatever, and she goes back to the terrace, and she's thinking about like, oh, you know, Jorah's gonna leave, whatever, and I liked this little like, she was Daenerys Stormborn, the unburnt Khaleesian queen, mother of dragons, slayer of warlocks, breaker of chains, and there was no one in the world that she could trust. And this was so sad. Because I was like, oh my god. Because, yeah, I mean, it was a big betrayal, but it just, and like, yes, get out, Jorah, but also this is so sad, because he was like, kind of like her confidant for a bit, and it was really sad.
Do you think, Barristan will be able to take that spot?
I don't know. Because I don't know, maybe. Because he was, like, commander and he had the council experience, so it's possible. But I think they offer different things. I think Jorah has more of, like, a cunning vibe, but Barristan is more, like, wise and, like, you know? But I don't know. I think it'll just be different. I think a part of her, because at the end of the day, it's betrayal from someone that she did really care about. So I don't know if he'll be able to replace him, but he might be able to do, like, a good job, too. And, like, do his thing.
Yeah.
And I think she likes Melisandre, too.
Missandei.
Oh.
Melisandre.
Oops, Missandei.
Yeah. Who comes and like finds her on the balcony and is like, what you doing? What you looking for? And Dany says she's looking for a house with a red door because it's the only home she's ever known.
This is so sad. I hate it here. This book sucks. Get out. Get me out of here.
Yeah. Anyway, so she sits there thinking for a while, and then she's like, oh, this is my city, the sounds of my city. And then she summons all of her council and everybody to the garden and is like, well, I have brought chaos here and I have to be responsible and bring peace. And everybody's like, well, no, you did all these things. Like, there's nothing to stay here for. There's like, you know, the slavers deserve this, and also including chaos, you brought freedom. And then Daenerys is like, what, freedom to starve, freedom to die? Am I a dragon or a harpy? And in her head she thinks, am I mad? Do I have the taint? And Barristan is like, you're a dragon and Marine's not Westeros, you gotta get the fuck out of here. But Daenerys says, how can I rule 7 kingdoms if I cannot even rule a single city? My children need the time to heal and learn. My dragons need time to grow and test their wings, and I need the same. I will not let the city go the way of Vastapor. I will not let the harpy of Yunkai chain up those I've freed all over again. I will not march. Once again. What will you do? Stay, rule, and be a queen.
Slay.
So, Dany's Queen of Marine, and once again has delayed her voyage to Westeros, which is far enough as it is.
Please.
And book 3 is coming to a fast end, and
Yeah.
Remember when she was supposed to be in Westeros by the end of book 1?
Yeah, I don't know if she's gonna get there by the end of book 5. Like, it is not looking like it. Also, okay, so we're here, and the appendix is there. It's giving 1, 2, 3. I'm predicting we have 3 more episodes, and then we'll be done this book. That's my prediction.
Interesting. I actually don't know the number. I'll have to look into it.
Whoa.
But, speaking, like, regardless, we're fairly close to the end. So actually, that reminds me, listeners, if you have stayed with us this far.
Wait, I forgot about that. Oh my god, we have to do a wrap up, and then we have to do the
We're not going to do emails today.
No. I mean, in general, like at the end of the book, we have to do a wrap up episode. Then we have to do the
I thought you were talking about today.
No. And no, it's 3 hours. I think we're good. And then we need to do Dunk and Egg, and then we need to do. Oh my god, we have so much.
Mm-hmm.
So many things. Whoa.
Yes.
Wait, that's all exciting. I like the special stuff. Are we gonna get guests? We should get guests.
Yes, but let's talk about this today now.
Whatever.
This conversation that we literally started yesterday.
This is so yesterday.
Special message to the listeners who have stuck it out this long. Send us questions and theories to discuss for the wrap up because we're getting close. And do it now. Like, start doing it now and do it as soon as you can because I don't know how many chapters we have left. You can find an exact breakdown of them on the Discord spoilers channel or text me for it if you really want them. But, like, our recording schedule is also not very consistent. Like, we record when we feel like it, but usually we post every 2 weeks. So just get your shit in and ask questions and give me theories to discuss and tell me why exactly Varys is a mermaid and why Davos is in fact Lightbringer.
What?
Yeah.
There's a theory that Davos is Lightbringer?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
We will definitely talk about it in the wrap-up episode.
My favorite... Okay, yeah. Please send theories, because those are my favorite things, because those are the only unspoiled, spoiled content I get.
Yeah. It's fun.
Please.
Okay,
Have
so...
pity on ya, girl.
We still need to do next chapter.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Okay. All right. Let me pull them up.
Oh, God. I'm tired.
This episode that will never end.
I'm tired. Do we have emails, though?
Yes, multiple.
Oh, God. Okay. It's okay. We'll get...
And sorry, folks, but, like, you either get us being philosophical or you get emails. You don't get both.
Yeah. It's too much.
All right. So we read 70.
We don't want to scare you all away. Which...
If we haven't
already, basically. We also...
So...
Yeah, continue.
Sorry. Next time, we're reading 2 chapters.
You have to ask.
What are your hopes and predictions?
I hope that we see... I was literally about to say Catelyn, and now I'm gonna go cry in a corner. I hope that we see... You're done?
Now I'm done.
I hope we see Jon and Davos.
Cool. Well, we're reading chapters 72 and 73. And chapter 72 is Jaime.
Jaime! Hi, Jaime. Okay, he's gonna save frickin' Tyrion. And he's gonna get his little... And we're finally gonna find out what he did with shady shit he pulled so many years ago that he's been talking about forever and ever. And he's finally gonna resolve all that, and we're gonna have a fun little happy family vibe.
Don't you know he saw Jaime Lannister sitting on the throne, and it was scandalous?
That's what it was?
No. He is Jaime Lannister. I know, that was
joking.
Ned's big secret.
I know, I'm joking.
Okay, well, it's too late to be joking.
Please.
It wasn't his big secret because we think his big secret was like John, but in the moment they made it seem like that was his big secret.
Who did he reveal it to? Oh yeah, to Robert.
Robert.
Yeah.
He goes to Robert and he's like, I've been holding on to something for 14 years.
And he's like,
I saw Jamie sit down on the chair.
And he's like, in the bloody chair that hurts your damn back. Boy probably just wanted to sit down somewhere.
Yeah, it's not like
he's like, that's your big reveal. True.
Okay, so Jamie saves Tyrion. Cool. Chapter 73 is John.
John, it's JJ. It's our two favorite J guys. Wow.
Yeah, well, this guy is also in a cell.
Oh, I forgot about that. Well, like I said, we're gonna find a way to get him out.
Okay.
I'm too tired to elaborate. People can refer to the previous John episode for details.
But good, bad.
Good.
Okay, that's all. Moving on. So everybody, send us emails that we will read eventually. Hey, listen, at least we have a wrap-up episode coming sooner rather than later. So if we are unable to get it to any emails because we can't stop jabbering away, then we will do them during the wrap-up.
Yeah.
So emails will be read. And once again, if you sent an email that we didn't read, we read every emails, even the ones that address me horribly.
Okay,
we
dramatic.
read every email. So it potentially went to spam and then we didn't see it. So send it again. And I'm trying to keep an eye on spam regularly so that I don't miss them. But FYI. Yeah. Send theories, send questions, send thoughts, then send love, don't send hate. I was going to say hate because why? No, don't do it.
If
you send hate,
Jorah
we will not read that email.
Send Jorah hate.
Yes.
Send Tywin hate.
No, but Tywin's getting a redemption arc.
Well, until he gets... Well, we can still hate on him. Even though he's redeemed. He still did bad things.
Send Littlefinger hate. That's my favorite kind.
Send Littlefinger hate. I saw someone defending him on Discord the other day, and I was like, you're canceled. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm joking.
I'm sure they had a valid point.
I don't know. I don't remember the specifics, so I can't argue to that, but I was just very disgusted. I was like, Littlefinger? Patire? Absolutely not. Yeah, join the Discord, guys.
Yes. And follow us on Instagram at Pop Culture Symposium. Our email is also popculturesymposium@gmail.com. If you want to find any of those links and stuff, they're always in the show notes. And yeah. Until next time, farewell, my friends.
Talk to you later.